All right, it's 9 o'clock in the fucking morning. I have been up all night because I'm trying to fix my sleep schedule. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm definitely leaving tomorrow morning. So I'm trying to stay up all day so I can sleep at night and leave in the morning. But I've been up for a long time. I've recorded at least 6 hours of podcasts in the time I've been awake, podcasts and vlogs, and I just want this to be over with. And I've got to burn time. I got time to burn, so I'm just going to finish this whole fucking thing in this video, all right? This is probably going to be like 3 hours. I'm just going to sit here and explain how I dropped all these shows. I just tested the audio. It's not as bad for you guys. I just hear constant echo. Everything I'm saying, I'm just hearing it 9 times because I packed up all the soundproofing, and it's really echoey in here. But it didn't seem that bad on the recording. Thank God. Thank God for nice microphones. But, yeah, let's do it. Let's fucking go through all the rest. Where the fuck did we left off on? Magical Girl Raising Project. So, Maho Shoujo Nante mo ii desu ka? This is like a lolly fan service Magical Girl parody that was like 5 minutes long, not funny and really weird. So I dropped it. Maho Shoujo Taisen. This was a like Gainax show that was just like short episode. Like it had these like pretty nice designs, but the show is like literally nothing. I don't know what the hell it was supposed to be. By the way, I apologize for the constant fucking blinking. It's just what happens when my eyes are tired, which is a combination of being tired and recording so many fucking things. I tend to my eyes just go when I do podcasts. I don't know why. They get shot. Maho Shoujo Naria Girls. This is a unscripted CG show. It's like 3 girls stand around and their voice actress is just bullshit. So it's sort of like Good Fairies, except shit. It's just so badly produced that it's embarrassing. The CG is really bad. The voice actresses seem new and they're not funny. And the recording quality like sounds like it was recorded in a basement on like microphones worse than mine. Like it felt like it was just made by like a one guy putting together like his own version of Good Fairies. Maho Yugi 2D. I remember this being just kind of a weird comedy show that 5 minutes per episode. This is like a very old, a much older 5-minute episode show, and I just didn't find it that funny, so I only watched 3 episodes. Oh yeah, this one, The Irregular at Magic High School. This watched the first 2 episodes. This particular season, spring 2014, like me and my brother Victor and somebody else, we just like sat down on Crunchyroll and watched the first like episode or 2 of like every show that had come out that season at random. And I think we watched 2 episodes of this one because even though the first episode was super fucking boring, like I think it was partly that it was a Madhouse show, and partly just that like I don't know, it seemed like it could be interesting, but it was so boring. It was just characters standing around talking for 2 episodes. It was super fucking boring and lame. And then later, Anime Addicts did a whole like YMS style takedown of the show that was really funny, but now his channel's gone, so that's a shame. Mahotsukai ni Taisetsu Nakoto Natsu no Sora. This is a like not sequel, but it's like a part of the same franchise as this other show that I did watch all of, which is like an Inuyashiki show about just this cute magic using girl who moves from the middle of nowhere into the city, and it's just like a cute little fun time. I didn't really even enjoy this show that much. I watched all of it just because it was like in 2007, and I was just getting into Inuyashiki and cute girls shows and stuff. So I watched all of it, and I think that was the beginning of the end for me with the Yashike shows. So this show is like a spiritual sequel, but what was really weird about this one was that the backgrounds are all like photographs. Like there's photographs with Photoshop filters on them. So it was like, yeah, it felt like quite a cheaply made show. I guess some people thought it was really endearing, but I just thought it was boring. Um, yeah, what's this? Mahotsukai no Yom. Oh, this is the Magus's Bride. I think I did a finish or fail on this at the end of last year. Mahotsukai Tai OVA. This is Magic Users Club, which is a pretty nicely animated and like just got great character designs. Just like fun little OVA about like a club of magic users. I think I watched the first episode and just didn't find it that interesting. Like I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be funny or like what was the real appeal of it. I guess I just didn't understand what I was supposed to get out of it, and I didn't find it all interesting. My Hime specials. I guess these are just short things that come with My Hime, and I watched like half of them and didn't like them very much, I guess. Maji de Watashi ni Koi Shinasai. This one I remember, this is a visual novel show, but it's got a really weird premise. It's like there's a bunch of people it's like a high school show, except it's all about like large scale tactical battles. And I remember it was like vaguely fascinating, but then just not cool enough to like really hold my attention. Like it has lots of fighting, but not very good fight animation or choreography. Like big cast of characters who are like not very interesting, not very deep characters. I don't know. It's an interesting show, but it wasn't good enough to hold my attention for very long. Majin Tante no Gami Neuro. This one makes me sad because I really want to like this show. It's like a kind of batshit insane shonen detective mystery show, and the main character Nogami Neuro is like Satan. I think he's like he's a fucking demon from hell who materializes on Earth as this detective, and he's just like a total asshole, and he uses all these dark magical powers and stuff to solve mysteries, and he's teamed up with this normal high school girl who loves eating. She just eats like crazy, which I always find endearing as a character trait. I love characters, especially cute girls, who eat constantly. And they've, she's like the straight man to Nogami Neuro, but also the comically victimized sidekick who he just picks on all the time. And I liked the characters and their dynamic, and the show has these like crazy ass, over the top, like violent and edgy scenes in it that are just like totally insane. But ultimately, the mysteries aren't that engaging, and like most of the episodic plots weren't that interesting, and eventually I just kind of got tired of it. Even though it had a background plot it was developing that seemed like it was potentially interesting, but it just wasn't making progress fast enough to hold my interest. I'm trying to remember if this is a Shonen Jump thing. What was the magazine this ran in? It is Shonen Jump. Yeah, so 23 volumes. So I don't imagine that the anime covered the whole thing by any stretch. So yeah, I really liked the aesthetic and stuff of the show and the characters, but just wasn't consistent enough. Orphan. I watched the first 4 episodes of this way back when I first was getting into anime in 2003, because I bought the first DVD, I think. And at the time, I just really didn't like it. Like, I thought it was super boring, and I just didn't get it. I was like, confused. And then more recently, I watched the first episode. I don't remember why, but I actually thought it was pretty endearing. And the fucking main girl is unbelievably cute. She's everything I like in an anime girl, which is to say she's blonde and she has cool hair. And I really, really liked her. But the show is like, it's another one where it's like just on the border between like being interesting and not that interesting. And I just kind of thought I'll probably never get back to it. Or maybe I just didn't change, because I would have already had it marked as dropped after 4 episodes. So maybe I just didn't change the status of it after watching that first episode. Because it would be weird if I had it marked as on hold at 4 episodes when I've only rewatched the first one, you know? I don't know. Luna Varja. This is OVA from 91. Oh, this is the one. Okay, this one's like fucking This one's insane. And this has like the best premise ever. And this is another one where I thought the show was all right, not enough for me to like want to watch the whole thing, but I was just like, because I was blazing through shows for the 1991 project, and I just like did not have time to watch all of them. And this one was pretty dumb, so I was like, okay, I don't need to watch the whole thing. But so it's about this girl who's like the princess of a kingdom that's like getting taken down. Like the kingdom is falling apart. They're getting attacked by brigands and shit. And so she summons this power that basically turns her bottom half, the bottom half of her body, into the brain of Godzilla. She like literally summons Godzilla. Like it looks exactly like Godzilla. And like she just is, the top half of her body is just sticking out of Godzilla's head. So it's essentially a show about the idea that a woman's bottom half is comparable to a giant king lizard. It's fucking insane. And I thought that was fucking hilarious and excellent, but it's a pretty dumb show, so not something I felt the need to finish, but I wouldn't mind finishing it. Maken Ki, oh god, I don't even remember. It says it's a like obviously a fan service rom-com. Look at the tits on these girls, Jesus Christ. I don't remember this at all. 2011? Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Demon Hunter Yoko. I watched a few episodes of this because of the fact that Shinbo directed the was it the last episode or the last two episodes? I don't remember. But Shinbo directed some of it. So I watched it. I watched the episode he did, and I think I also watched the first two or something like that. And it's just it's not very good, and it's very trashy. The first episode has like an extended molestation, I guess I'd call it a rape sequence of the main girl. Like she gets like brainwashed, and like it doesn't even matter afterwards. Like this show has like tons and tons of like the main girl just getting like molested by people or getting her clothes torn off, and it's just treated like haha, that's hilarious. It's got some pretty well animated action scenes, but it just kind of made me uncomfortable for the most part. Manyuhi Kensho. This is a show, it's a fan service adventure show, but it's like in a world where boobs determine, the size of your tits determines your status in society. And this girl's like a revolutionary warrior trying to make that not the case. And she has a special sword technique that lets her reduce boob size by slapping tits with her sword. And it's hilarious and kind of interesting. I made it 4 episodes in, and I guess I just didn't like I think I just thought the jokes were not that funny. Like I didn't there was elements of the show that were really interesting and elements of it that I was just like about. And it was like a lot of the same people who did Seikon no Quasar, which I'm a big fan of. I've heard some people say that they think this show is like really incredible, that it's like super underrated, and that it has all this interesting stuff to say about society or something, but I don't know how much of that is a meme. But I'm sure it's probably good. Maple Colors. What in the fuck is this? I have no idea what this is. This does not look familiar to me in the slightest. I don't know why I would have watched it. Yeah, I don't remember that at all. Maps. I don't remember this at all either. While looking for the legendary Map Man, the last surviving member of the Nomad Star Tribe finds him in Tokyo. This doesn't even look familiar to me. Did I watch this as like a randomizer thing? Yeah, I don't remember. Don't remember it at all. Maria Holic. This is a show about this girl who breaks out into hives whenever she's around men. And she's like a hardcore lesbian, so she goes to an all-girls school, and she thinks she's rooming with the most beautiful girl at school, but it's actually a guy who's just cross-dressing, and he's like forced to go there by his parents, and he just like kind of bullies and manipulates her. And it's a Shaft show, and like I was excited for it when it started. It has an amazing opening video, and I was really excited for it when it started because I was big into Shaft at the time. But like I just didn't find it funny, and I really like disliked this guy because he's just a dick. Like I don't know. I remember thinking that the style of humor was not up my alley. Marion Galley. This is a fucking weird show. It's about a goth lolly who hangs out with, as it says, famous scientists. It's very short episodes, 5-minute episodes, and there's 40 of them. What's super weird about this show is that it's character designs by Yoshihiko Umakoshi, who did the designs for Kishurn Sins and Ojamajo Doremi, Boku no Hero Academia anime adaptation, and the most important one I'm forgetting, Heartcatch Precure. One of my favorite character designers. The entire style of my channel's banners and avatars are based around his color design. What's weird about it is that this girl is super fucking cute. She is excellent. She's a brilliant design. Holy shit, she is so fucking good. But then the guys are just hideous. Look at this dude. Oh my god, he's just the worst. And I watched the first episode of it, and I was just so put off by all the designs that weren't the girl that I just couldn't deal with it. And I guess I also probably just thought it was dumb writing-wise. Marmalade Boy. I think I watched the first episode of this because it's like a very famous, shoujo romance from the early 90s. And like I just heard that it was a big deal for its time. So I was like, oh, I'll check it out. And I watched an episode and I went, oh, this isn't my kind of thing. I just always like to try out stuff that's considered classics. Mashiro Ito Symphony. This was like a rough ride, man, because this was another Manglobe show. So I watched it for that reason. It's a visual novel adaptation and is basically just the most like bog standard visual novel thing possible. It's just like go between different girls and their arcs. There's fan service and little emotional arcs and stuff like that. And the thing about it is that I really liked the character designs, which is rare because I don't usually like this type of character design. They're like big hair, complicated uniform visual novel look. I'm not usually a fan of. But just the character art was so good for the most part in the show that it kept my attention. Like some of the girls I kind of liked. I remember liking this blue-haired girl. And just like, it was the kind of thing where it was just inoffensive enough that I kept watching it. And because I was interested in Manglobe and their history, but like, eventually I just couldn't take it anymore. Apparently I made it 9 episodes into a 12-episode show. I think I was watching it while it was airing, like actually week by week. And just at some point was like, I can't do it anymore. I can't keep watching this fucking dumb show. Master Mosquiton 99. I know I remember having watched this, but I don't remember what it was like or about. Don't know why I watched it. Mayochiki. Which was this one? Gynophobia. He's afraid of women to the point that his nose bleeds when he touches them. I don't remember. Like, I know I recognize the name, but looking at it, none of this looks familiar to me. So, yeah. Mayoi Neko Overrun. This is like a weird and interesting show because it's just like it's a light novel adaptation. It's just like a cute girls harem show, but the weird part about it is that like every episode had a different director and they're all like really different. But not necessarily good ever. Like, yeah, it's bizarre. Like each episode is like, it's almost like an experimental, except that it's like the most trashy boilerplate kind of show. So it's like, why did they do that? I know there were some people who were really into it just for that reason. Maze. I think this is another attrition drop where I watched the first 2 episodes of this because I have these things. There's this thing called like an anime Anime Zone. It was like a preview DVD, like a, you know, here, like they gave it away to preview a show that they were selling on DVD. I believe the case is that these two are the same person. He like transforms between a boy and a girl, and it's like a gender bender love triangle thing. Like everybody's in love with different versions of each other and stuff like that. Really good character designs and artwork, and it's also like a transforming hero thing, I think, in a fantasy world. Don't remember exactly, but I remember thinking the first episodes were pretty funny, and like I would probably watch the rest of the show, but that it wasn't a high priority because it was kind of similar to like other stuff from the time, like Ranma 1/2 being the pretty obvious one. And I was like, well, there's other shows of this nature that I'd rather watch first, and so this one kind of just fell on the back burner. I didn't feel like there was any good reason I'd end up watching it. Mazen Kaiser! Mazen Kaiser. It's one of the parts of the Mazinger series, and I think this one in particular, there's this tendency with Go Nagai adaptations to start them off like really in the thick of things, like, and just introduce lots of stuff early on, because I think there's like an assumption that you already are familiar with the source material or with Go Nagai's work. So I remember watching this and just like not understanding it because there was so much going on like tied into the Mazen Kaiser and Mazinger mythos that I just was like, what is this? And it's weird in the way that Go Nagai stuff is weird. And I think this was my first one, my first Go Nagai thing. Really cool OP by Jam Project though, Fire Wars. Trying to remember how it goes. Yeah, whatever. And then we got Mazen Kaiser SKL, which is the one with the song I was actually singing a second ago. Mazen Kaiser by Loudness, which is also badass. This is like the most fucking like Affliction t-shirt, like just like badass skulls and guns, and like it's these Mazen Kaiser SKL looks like an Image Comics from the 90s. Like it looks like Spawn. It's like this insane, ridiculous design with like all these spikes coming off of it, and it uses big fucking sword. And the two guys who pilot it, it's like a dual piloting setup. One guy uses blades and the other guy uses guns, and they're both like always just smiling and they just want to kill shit. They're like, I like to kill shit. And they just go around and kill a bunch of shit. There's a bunch of hot girls. It's just like the ultimate fucking old school heavy metal kind of show, and it's fun, but I didn't feel like I had to watch all 3 episodes, and I heard the first episode was the best one anyways. Medaka Box. I've heard a lot of good things about both the anime and the manga, but the anime, people will often tell you that you should watch the anime like within the manga, like read a certain amount of the manga, then watch the first season, then read a certain amount of the manga, then watch the second season, like, or like certain episodes of it, because of the stuff that they left out, and like I guess the show just doesn't make sense unless you've read the manga. I just remember watching the first episode and A, not liking the aesthetic of it, and B, finding like the main girl annoying or something. But you know, the manga is written by Nisio Isin, so I think also part of it was that like the first episode was just so like all the things that Nisio Isin always does, and I was just like burned out on it at the time. Megachu. Is this porn? This looks like porn. Yeah, it's porn. Someone said, I wish he would explain why he dropped all the porn he dropped. Most likely, I just watched it at total random while looking for porn, didn't really like it that much, or didn't care enough to continue, or there just was only one episode out and I never thought I'd watch the next one. A lot of reasons, but none of them interesting. Mikaku City Actors. This was a Shaft show that's like an adaptation of a fucking Vocaloid album. And it's another case where like I liked the visuals and some of the characters, but the plot is like all over the place and didn't never really make sense or start coming together in an interesting way. And eventually I think I just didn't know what was going on anymore. I talked about it in my old Digi Does Anime vlogs. Mikagura Gakuen Kumikyoku. This was like this is another one based on a Vocaloid album. Actually, what are the odds those two were right in a row? That's interesting. This one's about this girl who just really likes girls, so she goes to a school that has lots of cute girls, and there's like everyone has superpowers, and they're in clubs, and the clubs like fight each other for some reason. It's got pretty good animation and pretty fun, likable characters. This is one that I dropped just because it seemed like it would not be like exceptional. Like I just dropped it because I was like, oh, this is all right, but is it worth finishing? Is it worth my time to watch the whole show? You know, the answer is no. Engage to the Unidentified. This show has really great animation and designs, and it's like just sort of a rom-com. It's interesting because it's a show about like this girl gets engaged to this guy like against her will. But what's funny about this show is that the guy is literally completely irrelevant to the point that like people don't even realize he's in the room. So he's like almost a non-entity in the show, which is really odd. Whoa, I just read a weird spoiler. Yeah, he's like basically doesn't matter at all. And it's just like a cute girls doing cute things show with like a guy who's just like around kind of. But I just didn't find it funny enough to watch the whole show, so I dropped it. Military. This is like a short episodes show. Just didn't think it was that funny, so I stopped watching it. It was another one I was watching while it was airing. I'm a lot more likely to drop a show while it's like if I watch it while it's coming out, because if it's all out, then I can just marathon it, and if the episodes are like 2 minutes long, it won't be that hard to get through. But here's another one I dropped while I was airing. Million Doll. Wow, this got ravaged. This is like it's like a show about idol fandom. Like, it's about idols, but also like a focus on the fan culture surrounding idols. But it's not very well made. Mirai Nikki. Oh boy. So like this show got really, really popular, and I knew about it before it was cool. I knew about it before it was published in the US. I had read the first volume of this online, and I really liked it. I loved the artwork, because I do think this manga artist is fantastic in terms of like character designs. He draws like really cool character designs, and it was like edgy and fun, because it's like a death game plot, but it didn't feel like it took itself seriously at all. It was just like constant insanity, and like the main character was like out of his mind and speaking to God, who was Deus Ex Machina or whatever, which I used to like. One of my internet handles used to be Deus Ex Machina, and like just it felt like a story I would make at the time, like a character just kind of in his room losing his mind, talking to God and trying to become God by winning a violent death game. Like, it's the kind of thing I would have totally written myself at that time, so it really appealed to me. And then the anime started, and it didn't capture the aesthetic well enough. The same problem with Dead Man Wonderland, where like the manga art is really exceptional and the anime did not capture it. The designs didn't look good. The animation sucked. I didn't like the look and feel of it, and it was slow compared to the manga. Because the manga fucking is breakneck. Like, it's just constant shit happening. And then I didn't end up reading much of the manga either, because my brother Victor started collecting it, and he like lost interest after a few volumes, and I read volume 2, and that was when it started to get like really edgy, like, and taking itself a little bit more seriously, and I just wasn't having it. So yeah, I didn't end up watching much or even reading much. This is porn. Yeah, I didn't even like this at all. I hated this. So I don't know why I watched a whole episode of it. Mnemoscene. This is another drop of attrition. This is a show that I thought the first episode of this was like the coolest shit in the universe. Cause okay, it's about this really hot lesbian girl and her cute QT 3.14 assistant girl, and she's like a badass action star, and she's immortal. Like, all the main characters are immortal. And she like I don't know, fights demons or some shit. But like, this is like definitely like a violence and sex kind of show. Like it's a dark, gritty, sleazy kind of nighttime adult show. But what's cool about it is that everybody's immortal, and I'm a huge fan of immortality because I love gore and violence and fun, edgy stuff. I just don't like when characters die. I don't like it to be dark, you know? I like edge, I just don't like dark edge. So this show, because the characters are immortal, all kinds of really fucked up, gruesome shit can happen, but it doesn't matter, and that's what I love about it. And so, like, there's a scene in the first episode where the main character girl has, like, hooks all in her body and shit, and she's, like, being torn apart and tortured and stuff, but she fucking powers through that shit and comes out with a fucking... She has a shotgun glove, and she's, like, punching zombies with a shotgun glove and shit, and it's fucking awesome. And it has both the OP and ED, both by Galnerius, which are fucking incredible. The OP is Alsatia. Crowd in the Mesa. You must wait and play your game. Emotional neglect is a price that you must pay for your desire. It's Alsatia. You gotta listen to it. It's the best OP in the ED. Cause disarray some. I love Galnerius. They're fucking great. And it was cool. But then the second and third episodes weren't as like exciting and badass as the first one, and I wasn't sure how I felt about where the plot was going, and so I just didn't end up finishing it. But I wouldn't mind checking it out again because it was pretty cool. And, you know, it's got Alsatia. Badass fucking song. I think I never finished it because the episodes were like 45 minutes long and I just couldn't like find time. Patlabor, the TV show. This is a really beloved show, especially by mecha fans. It's sort of like a slice of life mecha series or like a procedural cop like dramedy. Like, each episode is just like, hey, these wacky policemen are trying to do shit with mechas, and it doesn't always go as planned. And, you know, the characters are pretty fun and stuff. I just wasn't that interested in the episodic plots. It just couldn't hold my attention enough that I felt like I would sit through 47 whole episodes of it. So I kind of gave up. Oh, no, we got a bunch of Gundam. So we got original Gundam. I've seen the movies, the trilogy, and I love the trilogy. I only saw one episode of the show, and that was when it was on Adult Swim. And so I just kind of said, well, fuck it, I'll watch the trilogy instead. Now, over time, I've heard people make arguments that there's stuff in the show that shouldn't have been cut out of the movies, particularly the second movie, which did feel like the weakest one when I was watching them through. And I guess there's some stuff that's just missing from that. So I wouldn't mind watching all of original Gundam. You know, maybe when I do a rewatch. Gundam 00. I watched the first episode of this when it came out and was just completely bored and didn't like it. And this one's, well, despite this score here on Mal, Gundam fans are not the biggest fans of this show. Stardust Memory. This one is really all about the mech battles. Like, I thought the characters were kind of lame and corny, and the plot wasn't interesting, but it has really well done mech battles. And as I've said about every other show I've dropped that's about mech battles, I'm not that into mech battles, so this didn't have much to offer for me. Gundam Age. This one gets off to a kind of interesting start, and I probably would have watched more of it if people who finished it had said good things about it all the way through, but it's a show that, like, it takes place across 3 generations of pilots, and basically people generally liked the first pilot's story, and then not so much the second one, and not at all the third. So by the end of the show, people had kind of soured to it, so I didn't bother watching it. Gundam Wing. This show is terrible. I saw some episodes of it while it was on Cartoon Network. But I don't think I ever saw a full episode while it was on TV. And then I tried to watch it one time. I think I watched a DVD or something, and I just thought it sucked balls. And I've like tried to revisit it a couple times, and like it's just a pretty boys show. Like, it's the main characters are all like insufferable. Like they are just pouty, beautiful guys who just are like all super angsty and emo and totally unlikable. And just the way the plot unfolds is lame, and the quality is sort of inconsistent. Mobile Suit Gundam-san, this is just like some goofy ass chibi parody 2-minute episode thing that's just like jokes about Gundam. You'd have to be like a diehard Gundam completionist to care about that show. And Iron Blooded Orphans, I covered this on Finish or Fail. I just could not keep interest in it at all. Moe-tan, this is a fucking stupid show. It's a lolly fan service show based on a series of books which are English teaching books with Moe. Like, the idea is these cute girls will teach you English, but it's all like meme shit. Like, they'll teach you like phrases like, will you fuck me or something like that in English and stuff, and it's cute girls teaching you. But they're pretty adorable, and the character designer Pop, he's the one who designed that Romelia Scarlet figure that I have that you might have seen in some of my videos, the one where she's like sitting on the stand. That is a Pop designed figure, which is part of why I bought it, because I thought it was fucking adorable. But yeah, that show's not very good. Mokke, this is a show that no one remembers. I kind of want to watch this show just because no one remembers it. This was basically like Mushishi, but with cute girls. And it's not even really like cutesy or anything. It's just it's Mushishi with girls, or maybe better comparison would be Natsume Yujincho. It's like these two sisters who can see ghosts, and each episode they have to do something with a ghost or whatever. It's pretty slow and pretty boring. I watched 11 whole episodes of it, but I just it was just a little bit too slow and boring for me. And eventually I lost interest. But yeah. Problem children are from another world, aren't they? This show, the main characters are all fucking insufferable. So I just couldn't, I get that that's the point, and I'm sure they probably develop or something, but I could not stand the main characters. I know I made it some distance into episode 2 of this and then gave up. She does have good designs, though. Monster Rancher. This came on TV in 2000, and I saw a few episodes of it there. It's just like a goofy kids show. That image made it look much older than it is. It looked really out of date. Monster Musume. It's monster girls, and they're sexy, and they show their tits and stuff, and it's pretty much just a generic harem series, but the girls happen to be monsters. But it's pretty well done. It's got good animation and character designs. I just am not enough into the monster girls or the comedy to enjoy it. This one, yeah, I just thought it wasn't funny. It was a 4-minute comedy thing. Moretsu Pirates. I want to watch this, actually. This was a show I think I unfairly dropped because I didn't get it. I watched most of episode 1, and just it wasn't holding my attention, and I just didn't exactly process what the point of the show was. But I've heard a lot of good things about this show, and I mean, it seems fun. Just looking at it, it looks fun. It looks like a fun show. So I would not mind checking it out again. But we'll see if that ever happens. I should really make I had the Second Chances board where I had people request me shows to try to watch again, and I did 4 or 5 of them, and I think the only one that succeeded was Vandred. I think I should just make my own Second Chances board of shows that I dropped that I know I want to give another chance to, because Vandred would have been on there. Shows I dropped so long ago, and my tastes are so different that I'm curious about watching it again. Not that wasn't true of some of the ones I dropped as well. I don't want to be unfair, but Phantom wasn't a lot of odds I was going to like that show. Mujin Wakase Survive, or Uninhabited Planet Survive. I remember that this one was not very well animated and boring. so I stopped watching it. Murder Princess. This like was one of those things that I wanted to like it because it was just like a dumb, violent thing with like a cute girl killing stuff or whatever. It's my kind of edge, I guess, but it's a B Train show, and in fact, I think this might have had Yuri elements. I can't remember exactly which show this is. I don't know if I'm confusing it with another one that was similar. But yeah, it feels like any other B Train show in the way that it's produced, which is to say shit. Irresponsible Captain Tyler. This one, I thought it was pretty funny. This is another attrition drop. I had it on my list for a really long time before I just gave up and said I'll never fucking watch this. This is a really beloved show of the early 90s. It's one of those that, like, people who are big into 90s anime always have this, like, as one of their favorites. The main character is this complete idiot who just stumbles his way into being a starship captain. And sort of the big question of the show is, like, is he the most idiotic and lucky person in the world, or is he secretly a genius? Because he just, like, seemingly stumbles dick first into solving everyone's problems and always coming out on top. And, like, basically each episode is just watching the situation grow more and more ridiculous as he seemingly fucks everything up, but then it all clicks into place and it turns out he was right about everything somehow. Yeah, it's a funny little sci-fi show. And I thought it was fairly entertaining in those 3 episodes I watched, but I just never got around to more. Mushi Uta. I remember this was one of the Crunchy Roulette shows that was just kind of like weird and baffling and not good. Muteki Kojin Daitarn 3 is an old mecha show. I think this is the Tomino one. Yeah. This one, I watched this episode with Ghost Lightning because he was just showing me about it, like, to show me it existed. This is like James Bond is a mecha pilot. Like, it's literally like a James Bond or like a Lupin the Third type, like, character. This guy who just, like, is a super badass and he's doing, like, spy shit. And then he also pilots a mech. It's really odd. And, you know, it's an old Tomino. This is, I think this is before Gundam. Or, like, maybe it coincided with Gundam. Yeah. Muv-Luv Alternative Total Eclipse. Muv-Luv is just the edgiest fucking shit in the world. This is just watch girls die. That's the plot of Muv-Luv. There's an alien bug species that's attacking, and they're fighting against it, and they get killed. That's how Muv-Luv works. It's just really, really, really crushingly dark. So why? Myself, Yourself. This is another generic visual novel adaptation. There was a lot of these in the mid-2000s. Visual novels were very popular in the mid-2000s, and their adaptations, and they were mostly shit, and they just kind of died when the light novel craze started. Like, I don't think there's any visual novel adaptations on anymore. Let's look at the current season chart. Like, there was a long fading out period for visual novel adaptations. And I remember writing about it at some point, like writing about like the sort of death of them in the early 2010s. And I was like looking at a season. I was like, look, there's only 4 of them this season. It used to be they'd be half the season. And now there's like literally none. Here we go. We've got one, looks like an Otome game because it's all pretty boys. What kind of episode length is this? Is this even full episodes? It's only 8-minute episodes. So, yeah, that seems to be the only visual novel adaptation. It's like a short little side show to a Otome game. Like, yeah, visual novel adaptations are dead, and probably for good reason, because they were usually disappointing because visual novels are long as shit, and they have to condense all that information into a show. Nobody know. Oh, this was it says producers Square Enix. Okay, studio JC staff. Yeah, this was a ninja battle anime. It's like there's this pretty boy who's real pouty, and he's surrounded by a bunch of other pouty people. This one had an OP that was like a hardcore like emo song. if I remember correctly. Anyways, yeah, it had some pretty good action scenes, and like the characters were kind of okay, but like I just got bored of it. It was a pretty generic storyline about like a hidden ninja clan or whatever, but it had pretty good action. That's why I was watching it, which tended to be the case for stuff adapted from Square Enix's magazine. What the hell was it called? Because they also had Soul Eater. G Fantasy, is that the one that had? No, this isn't the one that had Soul Eater. I thought they were in the same magazine, but maybe I was wrong. Well, in any case, I think I'm Shonen Gangan. I don't know. I'm talking about way too specific of shit here. Yeah, Disappearance of Yuki Nagato. It's a Haruhi spin-off, but with shitty character designs, which kind of takes away a lot of the appeal of Haruhi. Shitty character designs and shitty directing, and shitty writing. Everything that's good about Haruhi is not there. Nagino Asukara, I've talked about why I dropped this in the past. It again is the Mario Kata problem of all the characters, all they have going for them is that they're in love with each other. That's the whole plot of the show. These kids all have a complex love web, and they all care about it a lot, and there's a lot of melodrama, and I don't care. It does have interesting other aspects to it, though, that there's like this... Like, okay, these kids all come from the ocean, and they're from, like, an underwater society, and they're trying to, like, integrate with the people on land. And some of the themes of, like, discrimination are interesting. This kid's sister has an interesting story of her trying to become, like, a family with the people on land. But other than that, the characters are all super boring. And they're beautiful. The show is beautiful. It's a gorgeous, lush PA Works production, but... just didn't care about a lot of the stuff going on in it, and I obviously gave it quite a chance. I went all the way post time skip and still didn't like it. This is fucking okay. Naikaku Kenryoku Hanzai Kyosei Torishimarikan Zaizen Jotaro. Zaizen Jotaro is a political intrigue detective manga, as it says here. Terrible production, like just ugly ass show. It's like a kind of goofy. Like it's a political drama, but like with a not taking itself very seriously. But it looked like dog shit. Najika Blitz Tactics. This is a spy fan service thing that was known for its panty shots, to the point that the DVD release, like if you bought the box set of this by ADV, it came with a pair of panties. That was like one of the included bonuses. Yeah, I didn't like it very much. Nanaka 6/17. This is a show about a girl who, she's 17 years old, and she gets a brain injury that reverts her to the mind of a 6-year-old. And, her guy friend has to like take care of her or whatever. I remember this just being like slow, and I just wasn't into it, and just didn't care. And it's not very well produced. Nanatsu no Taizai, 7 Deadly Sins. I think I talked about this somewhere, but this show has a real problem with the fact that, okay, first of all, this fucking silver-haired girl is hot as fuck, and I like her a lot. Other people seem to like this girl the most, but whatever. This guy, the main character, is insanely OP. And in the first episode, I was excited about that, because he does like some crazy over-the-top fucking stunt shit. And I like that the main character is super OP. The problem is that the workaround for this, because he's basically like the strongest guy on Earth. So the only way they can ever put him in any danger is through fuckery, where they'll have him like appear to get incapacitated for a whole episode, but then it turns out he was okay the whole time, and he was just faking it to win the scenario. And this happens like 3 times in a row across 3 episodes. And it was just like, what the fuck? What are you doing here? Like, there's no tension in the narrative because he's so OP. And rather than have the enemies also be crazy OP, because I guess they're trying to preserve the idea that he's like the strongest guy, they just have to find bullshit ways to incapacitate him. And it was really fucking frustrating and infuriating. And also, the show's sense of humor is just, like, not funny at all. So, yeah, I just kind of got annoyed with it very quickly. Naruto. 70 episodes? I don't know if I watched 70 episodes of Naruto. That seems way overkill. I do not remember seeing that much of the show. I was a really big fan of Naruto the manga when I was 12. I bought a lot of volumes of it. I want to say 12 in total before I sold most of them. I still have the first volume because I had a holographic. There was like 1,000 printed of this holographic cover, and I have that. But Naruto, you know, I was really into the manga, and then at some point I just like stopped caring and stopped reading it. I think just because I couldn't afford another volume. Like I was poor for a while, and just couldn't buy one, and then like it got so far ahead of me that I didn't bother trying to catch up. But then the anime came out, and it was on Cartoon Network, and I like immediately deeply hated it. Like I just felt like it didn't represent the style of the manga. I hated Naruto's voice. I hated that he was saying "believe it" all the time, which was not even a thing in the English translation of the manga. Yeah, it seemed like really for kidsy and like lame, and I was like, oh, fuck this. And they also added in stuff, like there was filler immediately, like in episode 2. So yeah, I wasn't into it. Natsu no Arashi. This, I think I picked this back up in a way. Well, I'm definitely gonna have to watch this for the Shaft project. But it's like a weird time travel comedy show. Like it sort of mostly takes place in like this one cafe, and it's like a romantic comedy time travel thing. And I don't really remember what the plot was because it's kind of confusing. But yeah, it's kind of fun, and it's a Shaft thing. So I'm definitely gonna end up watching the whole thing. So I might as well just mark it as on hold. Okay. Nazo Tokine. Oh, this was just like a weird little flash thing. I finished or failed this. I don't know why it exists. Needless. Man, another attrition drop. This one, I thought the first episode was like badass and manly, but it was also totally stupid. But this show had an awesome OP and a phenomenal ED that is like nothing but lolly Yuri fan service. It's just 3 cute girls like just like doing shit together, man. It was it's intense. It is like a visual overload, like a total like a stimulation overload. And the OP is badass and manly and shit. It's Modern Strange Cowboy. And yeah, like it's all like sketchy lines and intense yelling. Now, in my uneducated and foolish perception of anime at the time, not unlike many people still are to this day, when this show came out, all I said was like, it's just ripping off Gurren Lagann. It just looks like Gurren Lagann. They're just trying to make Gurren Lagann, but it's not as good as Gurren Lagann. It's not as good, but they're just ripping it off. Yeah, well, I doubt that's what they were doing, but it similar atmosphere. It's got the super rough, sketchy lines and everything. Is this guy really voiced by Paku Rome? Okay, that's her, like, probably his young voice. I don't know why she's listed as the top voice when it's obviously Takahito Koyasu. This is the way the information's laid out on this site is headache inducing sometimes. Anyway, yeah, really cute girls. I'd like to watch that show sometime. Neo Angelique Abyss. I think this is a reverse harem show that I got. Yeah, I got this on Crunchy Roulette. I remember. Net Ghosts People Pod. This was also a Crunchy Roulette thing, I think. It was just like it's a a kids show with a kind of interesting premise about like kids going into the internet and there's these ghosts that live in the internet. But you know, it was just like a kids show. Netoge no Yome. This girl is really fucking hot. And she really wants to fuck this guy. And for no reason, he won't fuck her. It's stupid. It made me drop the show. Nightwalker. I remember this having a really cool first episode, actually, and I'd like to watch the rest of it sometime, but I figured I'd never get around to it. It's like a detective show, but like the detective's a cool vampire guy, and it's got like a really striking visual style, very 90s. It was cool. That's all I remember about it, is that it was cool, and then I never got around to watching the rest. Night Wizard. This is what I like to call, there's a certain genre of video game adaptation that I call the gigantic fuck-off weapon genre. It's a genre, like, they'll take a game where you just have ridiculously massive weapons, and the anime series is just like about having big weapons and killing shit with them. God Eater is a good example of this for a modern show that some of you might have seen. This is another one. It's just like the characters have huge fucking complex weird weapons and they just kill lots of stuff with them, and that's all that really happens. It's not good. Okay, where does that leave me? Niji Iro Days. Oh, this was the one, it's like these, this is kind of a sweet little romantic comedy. There's these 4 pretty boys, but they're all dating, they're actually dating girls, each of them. This guy is like in love with this girl who's really deadpan, and it was kind of alright, but I didn't care enough about, like, it wasn't good enough to carry me through, and I was rushing through the Finish or Fail shows, so I didn't bother. The Girl of 20 Faces, Daughter of 20 Faces. This one is a sort of odd story about this girl who, her parents die. She has to live with her aunt and uncle who are like pieces of shit, and they're like literally trying to kill her, to like get her inheritance or something. And then she gets like rescued by this phantom thief guy, and she's like, fuck you to her aunt and uncle, and she's gonna go become a thief. And I only watched 3 episodes, and I guess I wasn't that into it, but I know the show has like major time skips and stuff and takes place over a huge amount of time. It seems like it could be interesting, but I remember being bored with it, so I don't know. Nisekoi. I don't even think I finished the first episode of this, but it's super long-running Shonen Jump rom-com, the kind that spins its wheels forever, and it's mostly just about how cute these girls are, and they are fairly cute. It's a Shaft show, so I'm definitely going to end up watching it, so, that's going to happen. Number 6. This was a show that went downhill at a startling rate. So this is a yaoi show, or at least boys love. I don't know if it ever goes to full-on sex. I don't remember. But the first episode of this is really strong. It establishes like this sci-fi dystopia world. It has like really great animation. These 2 characters were kind of interesting, and they have like a whole past that's shown together. And then episode 2 was suddenly really boring, and then episode 3 was like janky and horrible, the way I remember it. And it was just like, wow, that went downhill fast. And then my brother Victor watched the whole show, and this show gets to a like really batshit insane conclusion where like they like invade this facility to release a giant swarm of bees to destroy the civilization or some shit. It's fucking weird. And the main thing I remember about it is that he made an AMV of the final episode set to the song Trouble on Dookie Island by Lonely Island, and it was the funniest shit in the world, but it'll never be viewable online because of the copyright implications, so you'll never get to see his amazing number 6 Trouble on Dookie Island AMV. Nobunaga no Shinobi. This is a cute little show, but it was not funny enough for me to want to keep watching it. Where am I? Nobunagun. This one was fucking weird. This is like this girl is like possessed by the spirit of fucking Nobunaga or some shit. Like she has the genes of Oda Nobunaga, and like all these other people do, and they're like fighting for a government organization or something. Really stylized visuals, but like to no avail. Like it's just like weirdly directed and paced. Terrible OP video. But yeah, it's weird. It's not that good. Nodame Cantabile. I actually, this should not even be marked as a drop. I loved this show, and I just thought I'd never get back to it. There's so many anime I just thought I'd never get back to. And I think I probably made this great migration of shows from the on hold to the dropped list, like when I got out of anime or when I got back into it. So like I just had this perception that there were all these shows I was just never going to get to, and I should strip them from the list. I'm never going to get back to it. This show's fucking great. It's a romantic comedy show about artists, and this dude is like an all-star fucking pianist, but he wants to eventually go to school in France to like train to become like an ultimate badass, but he is terrified of flight. He cannot get on planes. He's like unbelievably afraid of flying, so he can't leave Japan, and he's super frustrated about it, but he's also like an arrogant fucking asshole. And then his next door neighbor girl, who's Nodame, who's completely dumb. She's just dumb as hell. She's got big ass hands and she's great at piano. And her whole life she's just sloppy and she's a fucking mess. And this dude, who's like a sort of proper rich boy, is like, I'm gonna fucking fix your life and teach you piano better. And yeah, the show's got like these really extensive concert scenes that are good. And it's just a good show. It's a good early Noe Tamina show. It's along the lines of Honey and Clover and the like. Nogizaka Haruka no Himitsu. This was like the first of the cute girl is secretly into the same nerd hobbies I am guys show. Like Nogizaka Haruka's Himitsu, her secret is that she's an otaku. And, it's like a romance comedy show, which I think these two actually like hook up early on, so that's nice, I guess. But I dropped this specifically because I hated her voice. Noto Mamiko is a great actress, but she will do this voice where she sounds like she is fucking suffocating, where like she just cannot even breathe. She's trying to do like the lightest, softest, most cloying voice in the world. At the time, I really hated her, but then eventually I found out that she could act just, when she's not trying to do a stupid-ass moe show. Noir, I hate the show because it's a B-Train show and it looks like shit, and I hate the style of it, and I hate that nothing happens and it's boring. A lot of people really, really love this show. This show has a really diehard fan base. Some people, this is their favorite show of all time. One day I'll give it another shot. I'll give it a fair shake, because there's certain shows that I don't like, but I'm so curious about that I have to eventually watch it all. Like I just want to understand what the show is. Like, even though I don't like it and I've dropped it, it's like I need to know, for the sake of my heart and soul, what people saw in this show enough to make them watch the whole thing. At least I need to have seen it all just to be able to be a part of the conversation, Like Ergo Proxy, I watched that whole show, and which has a strong start, but like I don't like it, and there's a lot of people who really like it, and at least I've seen the whole thing, so I can kind of talk to those people, But when it comes, or be steadfast in my opinion, like, no, I'm laying down the law. Ergo Proxy sucked. But like with Noir and like Shinsekai Yori and Your Lie in April, like these, and Clannad After Story, like all of those I'm probably going to finish one day just because I need to know what everyone else has fucking seen. Anyway, Noragami. This is another one I dropped because I thought it wasn't going to go anywhere, and that it would, because the manga was still going, and I got 4 episodes in, and the plot had gone nowhere. Like, it's really slow, and nothing was happening. And I was like, okay, this is just going to end after 12 episodes, and then I'm going to have to go read the manga. So fuck it, I'm dropping it now. But then they announced the second season, and a lot of people really liked the second season, and I didn't dislike this show. I mean, I wasn't super into it or anything, but the main characters were kind of charming, and, I was having enough fun that I probably would have finished it if not for the frustration over that. I mean, I don't know if the second season has like a proper ending or anything, but you know, they continued it, so it doesn't have the exact issue I was worried about. But I don't know how far the plot eventually does go. I've heard a lot of mixed things when it comes to recommendations for that. Norn 9. This was like a Pretty Boys show in a really weird setting. Like they're on like a fucking floating blimp city thing, if I remember correctly. It was boring. Nurarihyon no Mago. This is another one I only saw an episode of because it came on TV while I was in the Philippines, and I think this is like a longer running shonen thing. It had a few seasons. Good old Dean, always good for a few seasons. Best thing about Dean, I want to make a whole vlog just defending Dean. Like, I thought about making a whole video about it, but I'd rather just make a vlog about how Dean, they're all right. In terms of they've done a lot for us. Dean has done a lot for us. They deserve credit for all the things they've done for us. Anyway, Nyan Koi. This is a show about a guy who's got like a cat allergy and he's surrounded by fucking cats. And this girl's really cute. It was kind of funny, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't funny enough for me to watch more of it. Oban Star Racers. This is like a weird ass, like, I think this is like a French collaboration show or something like that. Yeah. I don't remember really much about it other than that I just wasn't that interested. It's like a Star Wars pod racing show or something. Oda Nobunaga no Yabo. This is a show where this girl is like, she gets teleported to the Sengoku period and she just like is Oda Nobunaga, or she works for it's gender swapped Sengoku era shit. This one I heard because this is one of those that like I didn't hate it, I just dropped it because I was like, whatever, fucking Sengoku era shit. But I heard this one gets interesting as it goes, that it has like some tactical elements and that the characters are kind of interesting. So but it's only one season adaptation of a light novel that I'm sure goes past what the show covers, but I don't know, maybe it's worth another shot. Super Milk Chan. This was on Adult Swim for a little while and I didn't get it at all. I did not understand the style of humor of this show, so I didn't watch much of it, but I'm kind of curious about it. Like I wonder if it was funny or if I was I was right to not like it. Oji Santa Marshmallow is a weird ass concept of a show. This fat dude loves marshmallows, and this really fucking hot girl loves fat guy, but she doesn't know how to communicate with him, so she just like teases him with marshmallows all the time, and he just doesn't get the picture. And that's the show. It's got some good animation in it. Okusama Gaseto Kaicho. This is a fan service thing that is pretty alright. I like this girl. I like her design a lot. Basically, she like just starts living with this guy while his parents are out of town, and she's like she's like really into sex education, and she moves in with the guy and just like wants to get down. Like they're betrothed and she's way into it. And the manga for this is like, I really love the art style of the manga, but I think it wasn't fully, there's two different versions of it. It was originally a porn manga that goes for like 1 or 2 volumes, and that version is not translated, or wasn't at the time. And then there was the publishable version, which still has like tits, just doesn't have outright sex in it. And I think I was reading it and just kind of getting frustrated by the fact that the characters by all rights just should have been fucking and weren't. And I was like, why? Why are they not fucking? And then I was like, oh, it was originally a porn. Well, I'd like to read that version, but there's no translation for it. And then the anime is like just pretty much 1-to-1 the manga, but not quite as attractive in the character designs. So, wasn't effective enough as porn. Omamori Himari. This is a fucking action harem show. Yet another one. They grow on trees in the mid 2000s. Risky Safety. I vaguely remember this. Yeah, it's like an angel and devil who are on this girl's shoulder and trying to, I guess, to decide where her fucking soul goes or something. That's going by this description. Yeah, I very vaguely remember watching the first episode of that like 10 years ago. It sounds kind of interesting. Where the hell am I on this? Oh, okay, that had like, I was like, where's the, I'm not in the R's. Onaragoro. This is a show about a guy who's got a fart that talks, and it's not that funny. And it's really unfortunate because the guy who made this this short called Mori no Ando. This shit, I've only seen it once, and it was a long time ago, so I don't know if it's as good as I remember, but man, I thought this was like the funniest shit in the universe when I watched this. Like, this shit fucking destroyed me. I was laughing constantly the whole episode. It's just like a little short 5-minute thing that was the funniest shit in the world. So I was excited for Onaragoro, but it's just not funny. One Piece! It's still fucking airing! Oh man, One Piece. I love One Piece. I love One Piece. One Piece is great. One Piece is the longest fucking thing in the world. I don't know if I'm like God. If One Piece ends, I swear to God, I'll read the whole thing immediately. I'll do it instantly. So okay, One Piece. I read a lot of it in Shonen Jump when I was a kid. Like when I was 12, I read definitely up through a guy who does this, Usopp's arc. And I think I stopped right after that. I don't think I ever made it to Barati or Arlong Park. So yeah, I think I made it up to the beginning of Barati. And then the same reason I stopped reading Naruto, I became poor. And I'd been reading it in Shonen Jump magazine. Like I only owned 2 collected volumes of One Piece. I was just reading it in Shonen Jump. And I thought it was pretty good. You know, it wasn't my favorite, but I liked it. Then, sometime later, in like 2007, when I met my friend Donson, he was a diehard One Piece fan. He'd watched the whole show several times over, and it was already 500 episodes by then. So he got me into the movies. So we watched the 6th movie, which is the one directed by Mamoru Hosoda, and I thought it was fucking awesome. I didn't know who half the characters were. I'd never seen Robin before, but I thought it was fucking great. Then we decided to watch the show, and we were going to marathon it together. And we watched 44 episodes, and my biggest problem with it is that A, it was a little drawn out compared to the manga, and B, the animation was fucking awful. Like, it's so inconsistent. There's so many bad shots. It was just like, oh man. Like, because Oda's art is gorgeous. Eiichiro Oda is a fucking incredible artist. So seeing, like, on the one hand, One Piece should be great as anime because it's colorful. Like, it makes sense for One Piece to be full of color and life. And I love the voice cast. But it looks like shit, at least in the early episodes. Like, I think it's gotten better as it's gone digital, but like, I don't know, the earlier episodes looked really bad, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna read the manga instead. But I didn't want to have to read back up through like what I just read, and I think the scans were shit at the time. Like, I tried to pick up where I'd left off, and it was like really bad scans, so I was like, well fuck, I don't want to read it like this. And then I ended up watching like all the other One Piece movies with Donson. Like, we just sat around and like marathon One Piece movies one time, and they're all fun. And I really love the characters of One Piece. It's just like reading the whole fucking thing. It's so long. And then a couple years ago in 2014, I read up through chapter 164 or something like that. Like, I was into the Alabasta arc. And then I just like had other, like, I made the mistake of writing a video about it. I made the what is the appeal of, no, what is it called? Why One Piece is good? I don't fucking know. I have this tendency, if I write a video about something, I feel like I'm done. Like, the moment I write the video, it's like, okay, we did it. We did what we set out to do, which is to write a video about this. Now we can pack up and go home. Our job here is done. And so, yeah, I fucked up because I was so impatient. Like, I just wanted to fucking write all the stuff I was thinking about at the time. This has happened many times where I write a video about a show and then never continue it, or don't for a very long time. especially back then in 2014. Like I'd watch 2 episodes of a show, get excited, write something about those 2 episodes, and then the show was fucking done for me. So yeah, that's why I stopped reading One Piece. I just haven't gotten back to it since because it's so fucking long. Like, when am I ever gonna have time to read 800 chapters? Oh man, but it's so good. Oh well. Onegai Sensei. This is a slow loading romantic comedy from the early 2000s that's actually pretty cool. It's very mature because it's like this guy falls in love with this teacher who's like a space alien. And he's 18 and they actually like hook up in like episode 3 or 4. They're like, "Hey, I like you, you like me. Let's become a couple." So I thought it was all right, but then I just kind of didn't finish it and eventually marked it as dropped. Onigiri, this was just like a game tie-in show that for the game Onigiri, which I have played. Neither the show nor game is very good. Oni-chan no koto nanka zenzen tsuki janai dakara ne. This was a cash-in on Oreimo, the first of many. Oreimo was really successful, and so little sister shows became a big deal. What's weird about this show is the fucking horrendous character designs with these huge ears. It is so fucking weird. How did this happen? How did something like this get made? Why do they look so fucking weird? It's possibly the ugliest character designs of all time. Like, what the hell is wrong with her body? Why is it shaped like this? What is this? Yeah. I don't even think yeah, look, it actually says dropped 0 out of 12. So this is something I used to do sometimes when I didn't finish the first episode, is I would mark it as dropped with 0 episodes, just to make sure everybody knew I had dropped it. I don't do this anymore just because I feel like it'll just clog my fucking dropped list. And I don't want my drop list to ever get above my completed list. But yeah, I think I made it 5 minutes into this episode. I was just like, this is horrible. Onsen Yosei Hakone-chan. This is another like 2-minute episode. Kind of cute character designs, but it felt like nothing. Okami Shoujo to Kuro Oji. This is like a just a shoujo romance thing, and I wasn't feeling it, I guess. I don't remember what it's about. I have to go to the bathroom. I apologize if I don't edit this out because I don't know if I'm gonna find it. How fucking deep into this am I? An hour and 17 minutes. I think I actually just covered like exactly 100 shows, but I gotta pee so fucking bad. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm still alive. I'm still on this earth. I still exist. I already clicked on this. O Kami-san to Shichini no Nakamatachi. This was a like tsundere light novel-y thing that came out. I think this came out right after Toradora or something, and like looked a lot like it. It was like a JC Staff thing at a time when all their shows were very similar, and light novels were starting to become more of a thing. I remember some people telling me the show is okay, and I don't think I hated the first episode, but I just didn't really get it. Oya-san wa Shishunki. Oh yeah, the landlady's a middle schooler. Wasn't funny enough to watch more of. Orange. This was an odd one because there was a lot of people who really liked this show, and I could tell from episode 1, very popular manga. And immediately when I watched the first episode, I was like, this is going to be a success. And a lot of people are going to really like this show because it's like a sort of realistic teen drama with romance and like a time travel element and like an interesting premise. But I just found the characters weirdly off-putting because the way that they acted together, they were all like friends who were just like smiling wildly and being like, "Haha, we're friends. We're hanging out. We're teenagers. Yeah." And I was like, "What the hell is with these people?" I went on about it at length on the Weebcast. It was just really off-putting. Shomin Sample. This is another like a fan service harem show. It's like a very classic case of the girls' school is now bringing in a guy, and so the guy goes to the girls' school. In this case, it's a commoner sample. It's a prestigious girls' school, and all the girls are just very curious about commoners and men, and fan service shit. It's not very good. Ore Monogatari. I talked about this somewhere. In fact, it was in the 6 Things I Want from Anime Romance video that what had bothered me about this show was that the characters were like just too cloyingly excellent for each other. There was like no conflict in their relationship, and they were just like perfect. Like the main guy is just the nicest guy in the world, and the main girl is she just loves him. That's all she's got. She just fucking loves him, and they're just super close, and that's it. And it's a cute show, and it's fine, and it's fun, but I just got really bored of those two characters. The character who's actually cool is this guy, the best friend guy. He's really great because he's just a good guy, but in a more complicated and interesting way than the brute force goodness of these two. Now I've heard there's some conflicts emerge a little later, and there's some interesting arcs. I wouldn't mind watching the rest of this show. Maybe with somebody, just not that interested on my own. But, maybe I'd watch it with a friend. God damn it, I keep clicking the wrong shit. Ore Twin Tail ni narimasu. This is another sort of a gender bender show. It's a guy who transforms into a transforming hero girl. So it's like kind of a magical girl transformation, but he's a hero, and he fights with these other heroes, and it's like a comedy sort of parody thing of like tokusatsu shit, but I didn't think it was that funny. It's one of those I think you'd appreciate more if you're a fan of the genre, which I'm not in particular. There's a merman in my tub. The guy finds a merman in his tub, then comedy ensues. For some reason, my cousin Boyd really likes that show, and I don't really know why. Osomatsu-san, I've talked about why I dropped this before. The first episode, as everybody knows, is quite different from the rest of the show, but I just didn't find the style of humor of that episode to be funny at all. It was just like a parody of a bunch of other stuff, and like it was kind of over the top, and that was neat, but like I just didn't care very much, and there's a lot of people who really loved the rest of the show and thought it was hilarious, but like my friends who sort of share my taste in comedy had assured me that it wasn't very good. But honestly, I still would consider watching more of it just because of the fact that there's so many people who like it, and I feel like I gotta at least give it something of a chance. But it's also one of those that every time that conversation comes up, some people will come along to reassure me that I should not watch it and that I probably won't like it. So alright, Otogi Jushi Akazukin. This is like this girl's from another world, and she shows up in our world, and there's a fantasy, and if you're in our world, then I must practice chi, spiritual unification, and do Zen whatever. I'm trying to make a Garzy's Wing reference and I'm failing. Otoboku. This is the one where it's the guy who has to go to an all-girls school and has got to dress up like a girl. See, you see how when you watch enough anime, then they just all bleed into each other. Like, How many times have you heard me say that sentence? A guy goes to an all-girls school and he has to dress up as a girl. Like, I know I've said that at least 3 times now. Like, and they're all the same. And people wonder why I have such a huge dropped list. Because, like, what could be perceived by some as a premise of a show, to me is perceived as the same shit I just saw last week. You know? Like, for fuck's sake, they're all the fucking same. There's so many fucking cookie cutter anime out there. And like, yeah, all of them are probably okay. They're probably not bad, but they're all the fucking same. And they're not great, so like, why watch any of them? If you, maybe you could sit through one and then you're just like, all right, I got it. I know what this is going to be from now on, you know? I don't need to watch all of these. And I've been doing this forever. So when a new one comes out and people are like, why'd you drop it at 1 episode? It's got some good elements. I'm like, look, I watched it 10 years ago and it was called this other thing, you know? Anyway. Outbreak Company. This one's got some really cute girls. And I like the premise of this show. It's about this guy who is a huge anime and manga fan. And he's brought to this other fantasy world that the Japanese government has discovered, and they're trying to like establish connections with the people in that world in secret, and they bring this guy to try to teach them about culture because anime and manga have been the most popular cultural export of Japan. So they bring him there to teach them about like the lessons that can be learned from anime and manga, which he mostly is like trying to solve like racism and stuff and this caste system that they have in their country. And like teach them what's wrong with it. Interesting concept, but the main character is fucking insufferable, and I think he's like intended to be like, I don't know, high functioning autistic or something. He has no social capabilities whatsoever, and he just like constantly is screaming references to stuff at people. He reminds me of my autistic cousin, frankly. Just like yelling at people about anime shit. It's like it's hard to watch him, even though he does God's work of analyzing anime just like me. I mean, I guess I'm just looking in a mirror when I watch the show, and that's why it bothers me so much. And there's this like princess who's like bitchy lolly, and she's annoying, and like, I don't know, I didn't like any of the characters. That's the main thrust of it. Like, I like the premise and I like the artwork, but the characters are all really annoying. So I only watched 2 episodes of it. Overlord, this one I watched like a little bit of episode 2 and hated it and dropped it, but like it's a fucking guy in a video game, but he's the bad guy this time. So yeah, that's interesting and different. Sure, why not? I don't fucking give a shit. Overman King Gainer. This is a fucking weird ass Tomino show from the early 2000s with phenomenal character designs from the same designer as Eureka 7 and G-Reco. And it's just really weird. It's a mecha show that's set in like this totally out there world. Like basically in the first episode, this like train, this like caravan has to leave this like dystopic city, and all the people on it are on this adventure, and it's just like a caravan, and they've got this mech with dreadlocks that's got a fucking chainsaw gun, and they're going around, they have to fight things, but the way that episodes are structured just doesn't make sense. Like, it'll cut between characters and scenarios in such a way that I can't tell what's happening or what's important or what matters, and it'll change gears completely in the next episode. And it's just like, what the hell is happening? It's the epitome of a Tomino. You know, I talked about how G-Reco doesn't make any fucking sense in a previous one, and somebody commented, G-Reco does make sense. Explain it then. Tell me what the hell is it about? Because I have no fucking idea. Explain to me why the main character guy ran up a staircase and hit a wall and fell down, and it was never commented on. That just happens in the show. They're just running through a house, and a guy runs up a staircase, and there just is a wall at the top, and he just runs straight into it and falls down the stairs, and then he goes, seems like they were trying to build a maze in here, and then they run away. Tomino's style of directing is just... it's mind-altering, and I love it. I love him for that. Garzy's Wings is one of my favorite anime. Awari no Seraph. This is just kind of like it's one of those ones. It's like there's like vampires take over the world, and there's these kids who are like they're gonna be a resistance. It's like a post-apocalypse, but then it's also like it becomes a high school thing. I don't know. I watched the first episode and thought it was like kind of lame, and then I found out they were going to be in high school, and I was enraged, and I didn't watch any more of it. Ozanari Dungeon Kaze no To is a 1991 thing. This one was all right. This one was a like it's like a goofy comedy adventure fantasy kind of thing, and this girl's like a treasure hunter, I think, like a Tomb Raider, and she does some tomb raiding. It's just it's a goofy little fun show. Just wasn't good enough to be worth watching more than one episode. Ozma. This looks like another Leiji Matsumoto thing, and I don't remember anything about it, so that's good. I don't remember it. Oz Mafia. This one was like there's some tie-in thing to some video game. Yeah, who cares? A Tree of Palm. I dropped this at 0 out of 1. I think I must have watched this. This is a movie. I dropped a movie, so I probably watched like 15-20 minutes of it and thought it was lame and stopped watching it. That seems to be what happened there. Panda Peace. These girls like bread. Show about these girls who like bread. It's fucking stupid. I talked about it in my How to Distinguish Cute Girls shows video. Pandora Hearts. This one, I remember thinking it got off to a really strong start. I was really into the aesthetic of this show. Don't remember what the hell it was about. I just remember that it had like these trippy visuals, and it would and it had like a sort of a dark like it was like a shonen thing, but with a dark edge to it, like a kids show almost, but like with a little spice in it. Don't remember why I dropped it. I guess I just lost interest or something. I remember I wrote about it on my blog. Like I was episodically blogging it, I think, at the time. Papa no iu koto wa kikinasai. This one is we watched this on Crunchy Roulette, and I thought it was like okay. And as of the first episode, I wasn't sure if it was going to be about a guy trying to fuck his 3 sisters, but then I found out that it is indeed just about that. Like, well, it's not his sisters, it's his sister's kids. So really, it's his nieces. He's definitely gonna fuck them though. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's all right. Paradise Kiss. Trishan Drop. This was from the same creator as Nana, and it's about this girl who gets into this like fashion design studio, and they've just got kind of like interpersonal drama stuff going on. I remember liking the first 2 episodes. Very stylish visuals, and the fucking ED, which is animated by Hiroyuki Imaishi, is fucking Franz Ferdinand. What the fuck is the song? When I woke up tonight, I said I'm gonna make somebody love me. I'm gonna make somebody love me. And now I know that it's you. You're lucky, you're so lucky. What the fuck is that song called? Do you wanna? Yeah, do you wanna? Of course. Had to get to the actual verse to remember the lyrics. Where I never let you before. Okay, I've done too much singing officially. Peeping Life TV Season 1. This is a really interesting, bizarre show. So, okay, Peeping Life is a series of these, it's improv CG animation shows. So basically the 2 actors sit down and they improv a scene, and then they animate over it with CG. But this particular one, the one that's called Season 1, which is actually like the 7th show, is about like classic manga characters. So like Astro Boy and Yatterman and like all these really old Tatsunoko characters. And it's just like people improv pretending to be the characters. Though the fact that they are the characters is like only semi-relevant. They're really just like doing everyday life scenarios, but like with the caveat that they also are the characters. I watched the first episode and like I was fascinated with it, but didn't find it that funny. And I think part of it was that I don't know the characters that well. So like, yeah, I think it's really interesting. It definitely does not deserve the Peeping Life franchise does not deserve to be as maligned as it is. I mean, a lot of these like improv comedy CG shows are legitimately pretty fun. People just don't get what the hell they are, and therefore they all get really bad ratings. Penguin Musume Heart. I think this is shorter episodes like the girl's an otaku and she's dumb and there's penguins or something. I don't fucking remember. I know some people liked that show, but I don't remember anything about it. We got Persona 4 the animation. This one, I never played Persona 4 the game, so all my knowledge of Persona 4 is from the 8 episodes of the show I watched. And the biggest problem with this one was just that the fucking animation quality, or the artwork quality was not up to par. And the as I understand it, I don't know if I was misinformed about this, so don't quote me, but I believe while this show was on, there was an animator strike happening at the studio. And that was like part of why the animation ended up being so janky. But I think a lot of it just was because of the fucking uniforms. Because the uniforms in Persona 4 have like all these like tiny stitches on them, and they just always looked like shit in the anime. Like every shot, they would just be off, and it looked really bad. And I was like, oh, this was not a good design style to have to fucking hand draw, makes sense if it's a 3D character model where it just stays in place when you move them around, but in 2D animation didn't look very good, and the show is just kind of inconsistent and wonky, and so I eventually got sick of it and dropped it. And then they, for some inexplicable reason, they rebooted it. They said, hey, you know how there's Persona 4 the Golden? Well, we're going to do an anime of that now and just, cover the stuff that the original anime didn't cover, I guess. And I was like, what the fuck is the point of this? So, yeah, I dropped that after one episode. Then there was Persona Trinity Soul, which had come out in 2008. And this one is really weird because it's, related to Persona 3, but it's not Persona 3. It's not the same characters, but they're, involved. And I think I legit just, was disappointed that it wasn't a Persona 3 anime and it didn't feel like the game, so that's why I dropped it. Peto Peto-san. This is an odd rom-com, high school rom-com thing that is another one that had fan service and didn't feel like it should have. The way the characters look and feel and the style of the narrative just didn't seem like it should have fan service, but it did, and it made it awkward, if I remember correctly. Which is, only so likely. Phantasy Star Online 2, the animation. This is a dumb as hell premise of a show about characters playing Phantasy Star Online 2. We talked about it on the Weebcast. It's fucking weird. I love Phantasy Star Online and Phantasy Star Online 2, but this show was, there's little of the appeal of the game is in the show. Phantom Requiem, I did a whole second chances board about this show. It's a B-Train show. It looks like shit. It's directed like shit. I don't like anything about it. And I had dropped it after episode 1 when it was airing and thought it was laughably bad. But people really liked this show. I mean, it's based on an Urobuchi Gen visual novel, which I'm sure is probably fine, but I hate the anime. And, I know the story goes in some dramatic directions as it goes along. I'm sure it's got twists and turns, but man, when you can't even stomach looking at the damn thing, you're not going to make it through. Where does that leave me? Fibrain. This is a like a puzzle show. Like this guy is he solves puzzles, and it just wasn't that interesting. So whatever. I'm not a huge puzzle guy. Plastic Memories. This show seemed all right. Basically, there's this android girl, and she works for this division. They decommission androids. Basically, androids have like a shelf life of like 10 years, and they fucking go defunct. So these people got to go around and fucking recollect them and get them away from people. But this girl is nearing the end of her life. But this new guy joins the company. There's a budding romance there, and this show's obviously like gonna be an emotional, sad thing. Like that's evident from the beginning because this girl's gonna die, and like there's all these emotional moments where they have to decommission other robots. But then it's also a wacky, fun comedy fan service show, and it's got really great animation and character designs. But after 3 episodes, I was just kind of like not that entertained by the comedy aspect of the show, and I just kind of gave up. I've heard it's good. But you can't win them all. Pokemon Advanced Generation. I've seen like all of the original Pokemon, and I've seen plenty of episodes of all of them. I never liked Pokemon Advanced Gen. I hated May and Max, and every episode seemed to be the exact fucking same. It was always just they'd go to a place and there'd be a million of a Pokemon there. Like whatever Pokemon that episode was about, they'd go somewhere and there'd just be like a whole farm of them for some reason. It's really odd, but yeah, it didn't. I wasn't into it by that point. I'm like really getting delirious with Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. This one I remember when it started. I saw the first couple episodes and I liked it. I definitely liked Dawn more than I liked the other 2 characters from the previous one. But then, I only saw so many episodes. It's fucking Pokemon. I see it when it's on TV. And I only see TV when it's in one of my brother's rooms. And I don't live with them anymore. So, I only see so much Pokemon. Popotan. I don't remember watching the first episode of this. It's got Akio Watanabe designs, which is, he's great. But I don't remember the first fucking thing about this. I don't remember anything about Popotan. I don't remember having watched Popotan. Puyo Puyo Kansatsuniki. This is a show about a round cat. That's the idea. The cat is very round, and this girl's got the cat. It's pretty cute. This girl's actually really cute, but not that into cat shit. And I think I watched that while it was airing, so I just immediately dropped it. I was like, I'll never get around to this. Pretty Rhythm Aurora Dreams is another transforming idol show. It's definitely for kids. I watched the first episode of this because this was when I was starting to be able to understand Japanese a little better. And I watched the first episode of it raw. I did, with no subtitles, and I was just barely able to understand all of it. And I'm still about on that same level of Japanese comprehension. I'm on the level where I can watch a kid's show and just barely keep up with it. That's the current level that I've remained at, which is not great. Prince of Stride Alternative. This is a weird show about a made-up sport called Stride, which is like parkouring around a school building. It's just kind of bizarre. I was not into it. Prepara. Isn't this another transforming idol show? Yes, it is. Probably did the same thing. Probably watched it raw and then gave up on it. Pumpkin Scissors. This was like just a fantasy adventure show, like just kind of an episodic thing, and it was just kind of drab, and I didn't care about it. I don't even remember that I watched that many episodes. That would have been like 10 years ago. Qualidea Code. Oh, this is that really shitty A1 original show from last year that sucked balls. Queen's Blade Season 2. Yeah. So Queen's Blade, when it first came out, I watched... Actually, wait. Did I somehow drop both seasons? Okay, yeah. So what happened here... Queen's Blade, when it first came out, I just laughed at it and dropped it immediately. I didn't even give it a chance. I thought, this is obvious bullshit because it's just a fan service fantasy show and everyone's got giant fake tits. And I just completely wrote it off like an asshole. And then I actually heard some good things about it later. Like, some people I knew were like, "Hey, nobody really gave this show a fair shake. It's actually got a decent storyline, and like it's a show with a fucking plot and characters." And I was like, "All right, I'll give it another shot." And I watched 3 episodes, and I was like, "All right, that's fair. It's not bad." But I wasn't, it's not my aesthetic, and I wasn't that into it. So then I came back to it later and watched 6 episodes, and I just kind of got sick of it because in the midsection of the show is like nothing. Like, yeah, there's an ongoing plot, but it also wastes a lot of time, and there's a lot of uninteresting characters. So at some point I dropped it and skipped straight to season 2 because that's when the tournament arc begins, and I just wanted to see how it would be when it's like a tournament show, but I was bored with that as well, so I just gave up. Ragnarok, the animation. So me and my brother Victor were big fans of the Ragnarok MMORPG. So he bought volume 1 of the anime, which had 7 fucking episodes on it. And yeah, we just kind of watched it one day, and it was mediocre. And neither of us continued. Ranpo-Kitan. This is a detective show where this kid is like a genius, and for some reason they draw him with a really nice ass. He's like very feminine looking and has a really well defined ass for some reason. I was not into it. I don't like this kind of mystery show. RDG Red Data Girl. Literally all I remember about this is that it was boring as shit, and I dropped it like immediately. I'd be shocked if I actually watched the whole first episode. Maybe I just left it on while not paying attention to it, but I just remember being extremely bored. But it's pretty to look at. Cutie Honey. The first episode of this is great, and that episode is directed by Hiroyuki Imaishi, and the other 2 are directed by Hideaki Anno and Tadashi Hidemitsu. And everyone always says the first episode is the only good one, like essentially. Or wait, was it that? Did Imaishi direct it, or does he just? I think he did. Maybe. I know Imaishi was heavily involved with it. Right? Yeah, okay. Episode director. That's what I thought. I don't know why I couldn't see his name. I'm getting fucking bleary-eyed. But yeah, the first episode is pretty good, and I think I had it on hold, but then, everyone always says that the first episode is the only really good one. The other 2 are just kind of lame in comparison, and so I just didn't even bother watching them. I was like, I'll never get around to it. Egoraptor has specifically said his favorite anime is episode 1 of Cutie Honey. The movie's pretty good, the Hideaki Anno directed film. Recorder to Randoseru. This is like a weird ass thing. This guy is 11 years old and he looks like a grown man, and this girl is 17 years old and she looks like a child. And so when they hang out together, this guy always gets arrested for looking like a child molester, and that's the joke. That's the only joke in these 3-minute episodes. It's dumb. Even though it's a great concept, I guess. Regalia. This was a mech show with cute girls and Yuri hints that got a really odd production thing where they released 4 or 5 episodes and then just stopped and said, okay, this show's not living up to the quality standards we wanted it to, so we're just going to completely start over next season and start back from episode 1 and finish the show. Really, I've never seen that happen before. God, the girls are so fucking cute in this. I just thought the first episode was boring, so I didn't continue it. And I think I was also frustrated that it seemed like it was never going to follow through on the Yuri, especially because the main characters are sisters. But, they're really cute. I kind of want to watch it just because they're so fucking cute. What is this? Oh, Flame of Recca. Yeah, I watched this from the Random Ass Recommendations video. Just kind of generic battle shonen thing. I'm sure it picks up later, but whatever. There's 1,000 of these. I could watch any other battle shonen and have a good time. Renketsu Hoshiki. Oh, that's porn. This one's alright, actually. I might have even watched another episode of this. I'm not entirely sure. Renkin Sankyu Magikaru Pokan. This one is it's a four cute girls hanging out show, but they're all like monster girls, but not quite monster girls in the way that they're thought of now. One's a werewolf, one's a vampire, one's an android, and one's a magical girl, and they're all really really attractive. The character designs in the show are fucking fantastic. But I just remember it not being that funny and getting bored of it, and I don't even think I dropped it immediately, but at some point I figured I wouldn't get back to it. Rental Magica. I think it's like a monster fighting show. That was just like I don't know. It just seemed really standard monster fighting show. Resort Boyne. This is porn. I don't really like. Ribbon no Kishi. Oh yeah, Princess Knight. So Princess Knight is one of the classic Osamu Tezuka manga that was adapted into a long-ass show. I watched an episode of this at Otakon, I think. And I was going to watch it because it's on Crunchyroll, but it's only dubbed, and I find the dub of it like insufferable. So that's why I haven't given it another good old shot. But I'm sure it's probably good. Rikujo Boitai Mao-chan. I don't remember watching this at all, and I've apparently seen 2 episodes. I think this is a Ken Akamatsu manga adaptation, but yeah, I couldn't tell you anything about it other than that there's girls and a tank. And I know that because they were in the picture. Really, really Fairy Lou, Yosei no Dora. This is another show that I watched in Raw just to see if I could. Like, I'd seen a picture of the show and it looked really cutesy, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna test my. This was like recent, like a couple months ago. I was like, I'm gonna test my Japanese comprehension skill by watching some cute little girls show, and once again, I was able to just barely keep up with what was going on. Reno no Lagrange. This is a cute girls pilot mechas show with really good character art and I think some Yuri hints, but it just wasn't that entertaining. This is one of those that like I struggled to like it seemed so up my alley that I had to watch it, and so I made it through 3 episodes even though I was never really grabbed by it, and then just gave up. Rio Rainbow Gate. This is like a this lady is like, she does gambling. She's like a gambling hostess, and it's just kind of like a, it's like an advertisement for a fucking casino or some shit. Ristorante Paradiso. This show it's from manga author Natsume Ono, who's very celebrated. She's a very interesting artist. This show is about Old Man Moe. This 20-something girl. She starts going to this restaurant where all these old men work, and she falls in love with one of the old men. And it's a romance about her fucking an old guy. It's the Oyaji Moe show. And I remember hearing criticism of this show that like the manga is like either it's only 1 volume long or the anime only covers the first volume, but it's 11 episodes of 1 volume, so it's slow as fuck. I'm pretty sure I dropped it because it was so fucking slow. Yeah, it's just 1 volume. So they stretched 1 volume out to 11 whole episodes, but yeah, I just found it kind of boring. But I was blown away because they don't really reveal that it's going to be a romance show until the end of episode 1, and I was just like, oh my god, it's an old man romance show. Rokubu, this is Lolly Basketball. Believe it or not, this girl's 18 years old. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure they're actually high schoolers, but they look like children. And this is a show that the main guy is a coach. He's coaching these cute little girls, and they're all very passionate about basketball. And like the show simultaneously tries to be like a serious emotional sports narrative while also just being a lolly fan service show. It's not particularly great at either one because the artwork's not that good or the designs, and the emotional stuff just comes off as cheesy when it's packaged in the same package as this fucking lolly fan service show. But yeah, it's a light novel adaptation, shockingly, from Dengeki Bunko, because you can play as Lolly Basketball in Dengeki Bunko Fighting Climax. She's like the most complicated character to play. She's like a trap range character. Robot Girl Z. This show has really great character art, and it's really charming and adorable, particularly this fucking girl. But it's literally the characters of Mazinger reimagined as adorable like girls, and they're all fighting like as though it was Mazinger, except they're just in a city and there are a bunch of girls like wearing costumes of Mazinger, and like all the main character girls are like way overpowered and their enemies are just like steamrolled, and it's pretty cute. It's just not quite funny enough to like be worth watching without being like familiar with the source materials, which I'm not that familiar with. Invaders of the Rokujoma. This was just a fucking some light novel show that I didn't watch more than one episode of. It didn't seem terrible, but whatever. Rolling Girls. Man, this is kind of a disappointment because the first episode of Rolling Girls is fucking awesome. It's just nonstop badass animation, really cool characters. Everything about it is perfect. It's an amazing first episode. And then the show immediately makes no sense ever. It's like these 4 girls go on an adventure on motorcycles to all these different towns, and they're like interacting with the stories of those towns. But like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. Like the individual episode plot lines just straight up would not be comprehensible. And the visual design was very strange, because sometimes the characters wouldn't look like they fit in with the backgrounds. But the characters were super cute, and they were cool. The first episode's great. First episode and a half is great. And then it just becomes totally confusing and fucking weird. And yeah, I didn't get what's going on. Great OP, cover of the Blue Heart song Hito ni Yasashiku. I did a cover of it at Otakon, or a karaoke of it rather at Otakon. Good times. But anyway, Rosin Maiden. This is about this guy mail orders a doll, and she has to fight all these other dolls, and it's like weirdly kind of dark and dramatic. I think I watched some of this mostly because it was directed by Ko Matsuo, although apparently he's not the only director on this show. Morio Osaka, he's good too. So good directors worked on this show, and I was really curious about Ko Matsuo's work because he had directed Kurenai and Red Garden, which I was a big fan of. And then I watched some of this, and I just didn't like any of the characters at all, and found it difficult to sit through. Rurouni Kenshin, man. So okay, Rurouni Kenshin was my favorite anime ever for a considerable amount of time. When I was a teenager, when I was like 12 to 13 or 14, I was so into this show because it's fucking badass samurais fighting and shit. And the first like 26 episodes is just kind of random little arc stories, like all these little mini arcs of Kenshin, who's a wandering samurai who has retired his sword, and so he uses a reverse bladed katana, and he's a pacifist and he doesn't want to kill anybody. And he comes to this dojo to protect this QT named Kaoru. And they make some friends, and they've got their little posse, and they fight bad guys, and it's fun. And then the second arc is this big adventure where they have to go fight this bad fucking dude named Shishio and kick his ass. And then finally there's a final arc, which was like not as good, and nobody likes it because it was like all anime original, and Dean took over, and the animation got really bad. Not that it was ever amazing, and no one likes the last arc because yeah, it was just like it was a whole filler arc, and then it just got canceled because nobody liked it anymore before it could ever adapt the final arc of the manga, which then later got made into an OVA series, which Dean did a great job on. But anyways, Rurouni Kenshin, I loved it, and then the thing is that when it was getting into the big Kyoto arc, the one that's like the hype part of the fucking show that everyone loves, I think they moved the time slot, and I couldn't watch it because it came on like while I was getting home from school, so I would never catch an episode. So like I only saw random bits and pieces of the Kyoto arc, and I'd read a bunch of spoilers for it online. So I kind of knew what happens in it, but I would just never be able to follow it when it was actually on, which is such a fucking shame. And then, like a couple of years ago, I tried to watch it with Donson. We watched 43 episodes, and it was like, it was all right. You know, it was all right. It's okay. It's got good elements. It's got bad elements. It's got bad episodes. It's got good episodes. It's all right. But like, we were getting into the Kyoto arc, and it wasn't really becoming amazing in the way, like, people talk about the Kyoto arc like the whole thing is like god tier, like it's the greatest shonen arc ever. It doesn't start off that amazing. Like, it's really slow to start, and like there's episodes going by where it feels like nothing's really happening. So eventually we just kind of gave up on it and didn't get back to it. But you know, I wouldn't mind finishing it one day, because it's been a part of my life for so fucking long, and I really like Kenshin as a character. I like his ethos and everything. But it's not the easiest watch in the world. But fucking Samurai X, the Tsuyoku Hen OVA is fucking awesome. Sabagebu. This show is great, and I recommend it, but it's not funny enough for me to watch the whole show. This is a show about an airsoft club. Everyone's fucking dumb, and the main character girl is just a fucking bitch. She is an evil, evil person who just wants to fuck over everyone else and does not give a shit about anybody but herself. She is just absolutely evil, and that's the funniest fucking part of the show. She's great. Unfortunately, the show is like really hit or miss, because each episode will be like 2 or 3 sections, and like one section will be hilarious and the next one will be totally unfunny. So eventually I gave up. Sacred 7, this was an interesting one. This was a really beautifully animated transforming hero show from Sunrise. It's basically this guy transforms, and this little cute girl, he's guarding her, and like he fights monsters. And it was just like the story wasn't interesting, so it wasn't really worth keeping up with. But the animation was godly. Like, the fight scenes were fucking incredible. There was just so many little details. I remember I did a whole post about this on my blog, just like breaking down all the intricate background details that I appreciated in the show. But, you know, if it's not interesting and the characters aren't interesting, then it's not easy to watch. The fucking Boring Girlfriend show. How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend. A lot of people like this show a lot. This was one that like I had to come back to and give a second chance to, and I'll say that there is an element of this show that is great, and it is this girl, the boring girl. The idea of this show is that this girl is super boring, but in certain moments she reveals herself to be like incredibly beautiful. And the main character guy is trying to write a visual novel, and he's like studying her to create his character. And meanwhile, there's these 2 dumbass bitches who are like these fucking retarded fantasy characters who write and draw for visual novels, because apparently that's a thing that adorable high school girls do. And they suck, and I hate them. But this girl is great. Unfortunately, I don't like anything else about the show. Yeah. Seijaku Buhai no Bahamut. This is an asterisk war. It's an asterisk war. Saint Seiya. This was a big, huge Shonen Jump manga that did not take off in the US like most of them did. I think just because it was airing way after its time. It's from the fucking 80s, and they were airing it in the early 2000s on Cartoon Network, and I don't think anybody cared about it. But this show is huge in other countries, like not just in Japan. I think it's really big in like South America, in some South American countries, and in Europe. But it was not a big deal here. And I saw a bunch of episodes because it was on Cartoon Network, and it had the OP was a cover of the song "I Ran" by Flock of Seagulls by Bowling for Soup, who was like a pop rock band of the early 2000s. Fucking bizarre OP, which I liked at the time, but the actual OP of the song, Pegasus Fantasy, is fucking legendary. It is one of the greatest anime OPs of all time. In fact, I'll play for you one of my favorite clips. You may have seen this before. Is it this clip? No, that's not what I want. I want the idol. The idol clip. This guy on like the French version of American Idol sings, like, for his audition, he sings Pegasus Fantasy, but he sings it in such a unique way. I assume this is the video. Oh, god damn it, I've got it muted. Just look at this guy. Look at this fucking magnificent man. I've seen this video countless times.
ペガサスファンタジーさ夢だけは誰も奪えない心の翼だから先生や常年には皆先生や明日の勇者おへ先生やペガサスの夕日先生や今こそ羽ばたけ Merci, Jérôme.
Now look, I know I was laughing, just like those judges were, but believe me, I am laughing with that guy, not at that guy. I've watched that video so many times that that's what this song sounds like in my head. Like, that's how I sing it. Pegasasu no yohi. Love that guy. That guy's the best. That guy's a hero. For doing that at all. Unfortunately, he was completely sincere, and he does actually look crushed when they tell him no, if you watch the full clip, but, you know. Anyway, Saint Seiya Omega was a reboot or something, I don't know. It was one of the Toei reboots that all happened at once, when it was like, this was the first one. This was the precursor to Sailor Moon Crystal and Dragon Ball Super, and I think there was another one. Yeah, all these Toei legacy series came back, and no one was happy with them because they were all fucking weird and not well produced. This one has, like, I think Yoshihiko Umakoshi either did the character designs or just looked like he did. Like, it was a very Casshern Sins looking show. But the direction was totally confusing and bizarre and, like, nauseating. Yeah, he did. He was the character designer and chief animation director, but the show just looked so weird that I couldn't stand it. Where does that put me? Here we go. Sakurako-san, the Beautiful Bones show. This one was just, like, weird, and I didn't like the characters, so I stopped watching it immediately. Sakura so Pet Nakanajo. This is another one that I might eventually continue and finish because it is beloved by so many people and it is an anime rom-com. Rom-coms are my genre of expertise. I watched this when I was marathoning anime rom-coms back in 2015 for that video, that's 6 Things I Want from Anime Romance. And I talked about this one and its problems in that video. Like, what about it bothered me was that, like, I wasn't sold on the characters by the time they were getting melodramatic. But you know, I didn't hate this show, and I probably was more inclined to drop it because I was trying to watch a bunch of other shows at the same time, so wouldn't mind trying it again. It's got really attractive characters. Samayo Midara na Lunatics. Oh, that's porn. That's definitely porn. I don't even know if I can, like, show that image on YouTube. Samurai 7. This is a like Gonzo adaptation of Seven Samurai, the classic Akira Kurosawa film, but instead it's like a fucking anachronistic techno sci-fi version, which is just like a thing that Gonzo was doing for a while. Like, they did Romeo x Juliet, and yeah, I just watched the first episode and I guess I thought it was boring. I don't remember, like, what happens in it. Sankareya, this one, it's about this girl who's a zombie and she's really fucking hot. And I know I'd read a few chapters of the manga and, like, it's beautiful to look at, but I just think I didn't really care about the story that much. And then I don't even really remember watching the first episode of the anime. I don't know exactly why I dropped it, because I've seen clips of it and it looks like it's gorgeous, so I don't think the problem was the art. Maybe I just didn't care enough. Sancho Sanyo specials. So yeah, I watched Sancho Sanyo and I liked it enough. But like I had a lot of problems with it, and the first of the specials just was like nothing but the things I had a problem with. So I was like, okay, I'm not watching that. Ronja, the daughter, the robber's daughter, Ronja. This is fucking weird because it's a Ghibli show made in collaboration with Polygon, the guys who do all the CG stuff, like Knights of Sidonia and everything. So it's in CG, but also it looks like Ghibli, and it's like really like a cognitive dissonance to see these like really awkward 3D models that are making Ghibli expressions. And like the background art is unbelievably beautiful hand-painted backgrounds with CG models that like don't really move all that well moving through it. But then the way that they animate at times, or the expressions they have, are like straight out of any Ghibli film, and it's like it's really fucking weird to watch. And it's off-putting, but mostly I dropped it because it was slow and kind of boring. Like, the first episode, they started off releasing 2 episodes at once, and I remember that, like, when I got to the end of part 1, I thought I was at the end of part 2 because it had felt so long. And that's why I dropped it. Sasameki Koto. This is a Yuri romance drama that I loved the first episode of, and then didn't continue it. I don't know why I didn't. I wrote you know why? Because I wrote a post about it. I wrote a whole post about how great the first episode was, so then I felt like I was done and I didn't watch the rest. It's a curse. Don't ever write about a show before you're done with it. School Days. I knew what this was going to be before it started. I know a lot of people find the ending very shocking and surprising and unsettling. I already knew about the game and its bad endings, and so there was always like everyone was like theorizing whether the game would have, or whether the anime would have, one of the bad endings. The show, it's got some cute girls. It's like a high school romance thing. I remember when I was watching it, what I found so striking about it was that it felt real. That like the characters were like as dumb as real high schoolers, and like they were making the kind of bad decisions that real high schoolers would make, and I thought that was interesting, but it was just not quite entertaining enough for me to watch more of. And I've read, like, some people have been like, you should write an analysis of School Days and like how it's a deconstruction of whatever, and I'm like, 1,000 people have written that already. I don't need to do that. School Rumble. This show, a lot of people really like it. It's a high school rom-com. I just didn't find it funny at all, and so I only watched the first episode. SD Gundam Force. This is a like CG Gundam miniature show for kids that was on a Cartoon Network for a while, and me and my brothers thought it was fun. They only ever aired 26 episodes, so we never got to see the second half. It actually had a plot, never got to see the resolution. Oh yeah, wow. So then they made, like, there's a bunch of SD Gundam shows, but the one that came out in 2010 was an SD Gundam take on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is just like next level shit, man. That is just too many specific niche hobbies rolled up into one. Outlaw Star. This was a popular Adult Swim show that a lot of people have really fond memories of, and I never really gotten to see it because it was like the last show that came on Adult Swim, and I was never up late enough to watch it, so I'd only seen a few episodes. I've seen the one really dramatic one everybody remembers from later in the show, but for one of the first Finish or Fails, because Finish or Fail was originally me trying to go through my on hold list and decide if I was going to watch or finish or not each show, I did Outlaw Star, and like the show is just really inconsistent. Like sometimes it both looks great and feels good, and then other times it's really dumb and looks like shit, and it's way too inconsistent in quality, and I just got sick of it and stopped watching at some point. Oh, I guess at 10 episodes. That's the point. Seiken no Blacksmith. This was the beginning of the end for Manglo being an interesting studio. They had made 3 of the most interesting shows of all time. They made fucking Samurai Champloo. Then 2 years later, they made Ergo Proxy, which I might not like, but it's very interesting. Then they made Michiko to Hatchin 2 years later. A track record of all really fascinating original anime that didn't do particularly well, especially Michiko to Hatchin. So then they finally they fucking flipped the switch and they made a light novel adaptation, and it was not good. And and then now they're dead. That's the road to death. Blade Dance. This was some shitty light novel thing. It's an ass war. It's that kind of show. Seito Kayaku Indomo. This is a show about high school girls saying raunchy stuff, and I thought it was just like boring. It's just like really, it was just like a bunch of girls being like haha vagina and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, at least that's how I remember it. It's pretty well rated, so I don't know. This one, I watched like episode 1 and part of episode 2. This was into my period of not liking A1 shows, but I was interested in this one because it's directed by Tensai Okamura, who's pretty good. He did, Darker Than Black. He's one of the old Bones guys. He's been around for a long time and worked on a lot of interesting stuff. Did some Ava shit. Did some Razafan shit, I think. Yeah. He's directed Wolf's Rain. He's a pretty good guy. So I was interested in this show, but like, I just didn't like the premise, and I really didn't like this girl. She's like this like lolly who's trying to take over the world or something. I don't know. I really I felt like the show had like an interesting premise, and it's obviously trying to be like kind of a weird out there show, but then the actual animation just felt so lifeless, and like the artwork and everything. This was like when I was first starting to realize that like A1 is a problem, and that like the stuff they do just looks lifeless, you know. And that was when I started to really get into the bones of that feeling. Sekirei is a fan service action show. Girls with big tits fight each other. Not really my thing. Sekko Boys is one goofy ass show about a girl who's managing 4 idols, which are literally just busts of Greek statues. It's stupid as hell. Sengoku Collection. This is a really interesting show where each episode is like completely fucking different. It's all these samurai, but they're like girl versions of samurai, and they are taken to our world through a time portal or something, and then like each episode is just like a totally different thing, and but they're all interesting, but none are necessarily good. Like, that was what was weird about it, is that it's like, it's a really fascinating show, but not necessarily a good one. I'm noticing it's Keiji Goto, that same director that we were looking at in a previous episode, for the fact that him and his wife collabed on those, on Kitty Grade and Utakata. Sengoku Otome, Momoiro Paradox. This is also a show about female versions of the Sengoku era characters, except this one's just like straightforward. It's the Sengoku period, but they're all women and they all have special powers, and that's that. And it's fan servicey. I thought it was all right. I didn't hate that show. I mean, I watched 6 whole episodes of it, so I guess I was at least wanted to love it. Symphogear, man, Symphogear is some goofy ass shit. Symphogear is a show about girls who sing while they fight alien things, and it's like dark but also dumb, and I don't know. I found the main character obnoxious, and like it's all over the place. It's just a fucking weird clusterfuck of a show. Yuki Kaze. This one is a really beautifully made, like it was one of the early like great looking 3D CG stories about like jet fighters, and I know it's like yaoi or something, but like that's not clear at first, but then you like there's it's really confusing. It was one of those that's like trippy. Like the first episode I remember just being trippy and not really knowing what the hell was going on, but that it looked nice. And eventually I just figured I'd never watch it. Servamp, I covered this in Finish or Fail. I like the attitude of this show, but it's fucking dumb and corny. Seto no Hanayome. This is a very popular comedy show about a guy who falls in love with a mermaid, but she's like a part of a mermaid yakuza or something. And yeah, it's just like a goofy rom-com thing. I keep losing my place. I'm so fucking tired. Sexy Commando. Oh man. I remember this being fairly funny for the episodes I watched, which is only 8, but I think it's like, yeah, short episodes. Don't really remember what this was about. I just remember that it was like fucking weird. Shadow Skill Engi. This is actually a fairly alright 90s action show. Like it was just a bunch of like characters with superpowers, and they're pretty cool looking, and this girl is like she's a badass. And I remember thinking it was pretty alright. I think I watched it with a friend who went on to watch the rest of it himself, and I just kind of never got around to it, but it seemed alright. Shakugan no Shana 2. So Shakugan no Shana, man, season 1 is dog shit, and I didn't recognize it at first because I was so enthralled by the aesthetic of it. I love Shauna's design so much. I love the overall aesthetic of the show and the premise of it, but it's just shitty. It's just really shitty, and it's like it's the first of the shitty light novels. This is like this is the original, the OG of shitty light novels of everything to come from the genre. And the first season, it's got its ups and downs, mostly downs. I had rated it a 6 out of 10 when I finished it, which, 6 out of 10 for me in 2007, not a good score to have. But the end of the first season of Shauna, she confesses to the guy, and then at the start of season 2, he didn't know. He didn't hear her say it, and she won't say it again. And so this love triangle that they were in through the whole first season just continues. Oh, and now they throw in a third girl. Hey, here's another one. Boom, now you got 3 girls obsessed with you when you've got an OTP who confessed to you at the end of the first fucking season. Just kill me. Just kill me. Just fuck my shit up, fam. And like, yeah, by the end of episode 4, I was like completely like offended and deeply upset with the show. I've heard people say that the 3rd season's really good. Not this one. This one. The 3rd season. All I have to say to that is, how did you make it to the 3rd season? I don't know if I trust your judgment if you made it all the way to the 3rd season. Just saying. Shaman King. I really liked this manga. It was in Shonen Jump, and I was reading it, and I was way into it, and then they put it on the Fox box, I think, with a 4Kids dub, and I was not into that. And I guess I tried to watch a lot of it because I really liked the manga, but I just wasn't feeling it at all. And I also I remember, like, thinking the color choices were weird and stuff. God, this is just, it goes on forever. I'm only at 600, and there's 730, right? No, 757. Motherfucker, this is gonna take me fucking forever. Shangri-La, this was, didn't even finish the first episode. It's another dropped at 0 out of 24. This was a gonzo show with character designs by fucking, what's his name? The guy who did Last Exile, Range Murata. And I remember the OP being really good, and like that this show looked like it was going to be really good, and then I started it up, and it was like immediately I didn't know what was going on, and it sucked, and I didn't like it, so I dropped it like instantly. And I've only heard conflicting things about it. Nana 7 of 7. This is a show about a girl who she like touches a magic thing and 7 personalities of hers all split off from her, and it's just like a wacky comedy thing. And I watched it because it was directed by Yasuhiro Imagawa, who's mostly known for directing insane over-the-top mecha shows, and somehow he got involved in that show. But like, he's better known for G Gundam and Giant Robo and Shin Mazinger, which are all great and definitely worth your time. Your Lie in April. I watched the first episode and I thought it was fucking lame. It just seemed really melodramatic in a way that I was not. What the fuck is with this guy's hair? Holy shit. Is that a gag or is his hair really like that? Anyways, I thought it was fucking dumb and lame, and then it became the most popular show in the fucking 8.91. And the funniest thing that ever happened in history is that I put out a call. I said, everybody, if you like shows that I don't like, please make analysis videos of them. I had a whole video called Please Analyze Shows I Don't Like. And so this guy called Craftsdwarf took up the call. I think it was Craftsdwarf who did this. He took up the call and he said, I'm going to make an analysis video of one of my favorite shows, Your Lie in April. And he ends up making a video where he says, so I set out to do that, and turns out this show sucks. He loved the show, and then in the process of analyzing it to prove why it was good, he ended up realizing that it was shitty and hating it. It was the funniest thing that's ever happened. It was the most gratifying experience of my young life. Okay, what is this? Oh, History's Strongest Disciple Kenichi. This one was alright, but like the animation wasn't that good, and it's long, so, you know, whatever. Shikabane Hime Aka. This was like an odd Gainax show. It's one of those that it's not associated with the studio, even though it's animated like a Gainax show. It's got some crazy ass Imaishi fucking cuts and shit, and it's like an over the top action show, but you know, it just isn't that strong, so people don't really remember it. And I only watched 3 episodes. I don't even remember what happens in them at all. I don't remember what it was about. Oh, this is porn. That's clearly porn. Where was I? Oh, Shingeki no Bahamut Genesis, a show I dropped with 2 episodes left. This show has... The first 4 episodes of the show are great. Like, you absolutely should watch those if you like fantasy adventure shows at all. Super amazing animation. Really fun characters, fun world. Particularly, like, episode 1 is alright, mostly for its big action scenes. But, like, episodes 2 and 4, I remember just being fucking great. Like, just the best swashbuckling adventure you could ask for. And then after that, it starts to develop a plot, and it quickly goes downhill. And by episode 10, I just didn't give a single fuck anymore, and I just wanted nothing to do with it. So I quit. Alright, where does that fucking put me? Shingeki no Kyojin, Attack on Titan. It's boring and brown. It's just boring and brown, and that's all it is. It's just incessant boringness and brownness. That's the whole show. It tries to be as boring and as brown as it can possibly be. I don't care for it very much. Don't see the entertainment value in it. It's so boring. It's the boringest, brownest show of all time. Go Danner. This is a really fun premise of a show. It's this couple, they get married and they pilot a fusion robot, and the show's all about fusions. It's all about fusing robots, and it's pretty sweet. It's extremely fan service heavy, but it's a sweet show, and I liked it, but not enough to finish it. You gotta kind of be a mecha fan to really get into that one, I think. Ghost Hound. This show, man, I want to give this another shot at some point, but this fucking show. So this was made as a, like, Production IG Anniversary Project show, and it was the same director and writer as Serial Experiments Lain, which was really exciting because I love Serial Experiments Lain. And, Chiaki Kanaka is an insane person, and you never really know what you're going to get with one of his shows. Sometimes it might be extremely interesting, and sometimes it might just be a totally confusing, what the hell am I watching? Now, granted, I was trying to watch the show while it was airing, and I didn't get into it. And then I finished or failed it in 2010 or 2011, and failed it after 8 episodes. I totally want to watch it again. I want to keep coming back to this one because Chiaki Kanaka is fucking fascinating, and I feel like I understand his writing better over the years, so maybe I'll finally get into this show. I mean, it was not particularly beloved by anybody, but it's fucking weird, and it's really interesting. It's about lucid dreaming and going to fucking fantasy worlds in this town. There's a murder mystery as well, and all kinds of trippy shit. It's got amazing sound design, which is, I think, the specialty of Ryutaro Nakamura. I know what's his name? Was it Under the Scope or RC Anime? One of them did a video once about the sound design in Serial Experiments Lain, which is great. But this show really goes into really a lot of detail on its sound design, and that's one of the, I would say, most appealing things about the show, because it's important to the plot, the way that the relationship that the main character has with sound. Squid Girl, it's cute, it's funny, but it's not consistently funny, and it gets repetitive, so I stopped watching it at some point. But Squid Girl's adorable. Shinsekai Yori, I fucking hate this show. I hate it, and everyone else loves it, and one day I'm going to watch all of it and get to the fucking bottom of it. Because everybody always says that the best part's the later part, and it's got all these big time skips, and it's this whole evolving narrative, and supposedly has an amazing ending. I hated those first 4 episodes so much. I thought they were so bland and boring and fucking, it's just, I cared about literally nothing. I hated everything about it. I hate the aesthetic. I hate the characters. I hate the story. I hate the insane exposition dump that takes up the entirety of episode 4. I hate the directing. It's the worst. It is all bad. Masashi Ishihama, I know your name. What else did you do, you son of a bitch? You did a lot of stuff on Erased, which sucks, but you didn't direct it. What did you direct? What is it? What else can I blame you for? Well, you did this shitty Garakawa movie, which I dropped 10 minutes into because it was just an abomination. You did a bunch of stuff on Psycho-Pass 2. Character designs for Read or Die. So you're an alright character designer, but what the hell did you direct other than fucking Speedgrapher's a confusing mess, but you just did the OP. Did you direct anything else? Anything else? I guess you're mostly a character designer, and not bad at that, but not a good director, because the directing in the show pisses me off, and I hate it. What the fuck am I talking about? Kashern, the original, which is actually pretty alright. This was me trying to get into 70s anime, which as I detailed before, I've always struggled with. And this was a long time ago that I was watching this. And it started getting translated by some group, and I was watching it as the translations came out. But then at some point just figured, I'll never get around to this. It's fucking 35 episodes, and it's fairly episodic, and it's all right. I was a really big fan of Kashern Sins, which is why I was kind of motivated to watch it. But yeah, it's pretty not bad. I was entertained enough to make it 4 episodes in, which is more than I had done for any other 70s show at that point. Anyway, Shion no Oh, this is another one that's really interesting, but also kind of weird. It's about this girl who's a mute, and she plays shogi really fucking well. And this is a boy who has to dress like a girl for some reason I don't remember. And there's a weird dark undercurrent plot to the show. I think where I stopped, this girl had gotten kidnapped or something, and it was just the plot was going in such a weird direction that I just didn't care anymore. But it was interesting. I don't know. I don't remember enough. It was a long time ago. Argivolin, this is a robot show that was just not interesting. Shirokuma Cafe. This is a show that most people who watch any of this love it. It's Polar Bear Cafe. It's a bunch of talking animals. It's a very soothing Iyashikei show about animals in a cafe. I don't know if it's just because I don't like animals, or if it's because Iyashikei bores me to tears, or if I hated Panda's voice, but I just didn't enjoy it at all. Shoujo Senki Soul Eater. This looks like porn. Shoujo Tachi wa Koya o Mezasu. Oh, this was that fucking weird one. We watched this on Weebcast, and I just, like, totally didn't get what the hell was happening in this first episode. It was a very awkward direction and stuff, and didn't like it. Shokojo, I think this is porn. Yeah, it's porn. Shonen Maid. This show was kind of charming. It's about a boy who his like parents die and he has to become a maid. You know, it was all right, but it didn't seem like it would probably go anywhere interesting before it was over. But you know, it's cute. I can deal with that. Show by Rock. This show's just an absolute fucking clusterfuck. I loved the first like 10 minutes of this, where like this girl goes to this extended fantasy of living out K-On! And she is easily top 10 cutest anime girls of all time. Like, just fucking look at her. She is the cutest shit in the world. She is so cute, it like batters my brain. And even like, she's really cute in this form, but I even thought she was cuter before she got transformed into a cat girl. Like at the start of the show, and she was just a normal girl. Because she had glasses and shit, and she was super fucking cute. She gets teleported to this insane, like, meta reality inside of a video game where she joins this band, and like the show has so many colors that all just like clash against each other, and it just like it tears my eyeballs to shreds. This one hurts my eyes. Forget about fucking Handshakers. This one actually hurts my eyes because it's like 10 different completely clashing pastel colors on screen at any given time, and the plot is just weird. And it's confusing and bizarre. And so I dropped it after a few episodes, even though I really wanted to like it, because, God, Cyan is so fucking cute. But yeah, didn't make it too far. Shugo Kara. This is a show that, for some reason, I like. Okay, I love the main girl. I love Amu. She's adorable. She's got a great personality, and the show is about exploring her personality. It's a magical girl show, but where she has 3 different transformations based on different aspects of who she is. She's got like the sporty one, the artistic one, and the like girly one who like makes sweets and shit. She's trying to embrace all these different sides. Everybody thinks she's unapproachable because she's too cool and spicy, just because she has good fashion sense, essentially. And she ends up joining the student council because of the fact that she's got these chars. And none of the other characters are nearly as interesting as she is. I watched 18 episodes. I was enjoying it, but I just kind of like, you know, got like lost interest because the anime it's based on a manga that's like 13 volumes long, which has kind of a consistent ongoing narrative, and the anime just stuffs in shit tons of filler to make it a magical girl show. Like, this is 51 episodes for season 1. Out of like 3 or 4. So I bought like all of the manga at some point. Like I got it for Christmas, and I read like 3 volumes and then realized this is a show, this is for little girls. Why am I reading this? Like, why did I buy all this? Yeah, that was kind of the feeling I left with. Knights of Sidonia. I wanted to like this a lot because I really like the artwork of the creator. His name's slipping my mind at the moment. Let me go find him. Tsutomu Nihei. I love Tsutomu Nihei's artwork, though I don't really like his artwork on Knights of Sidonia. I love him for Blame, and somehow Polygon Pictures, now they just made a Blame movie, just came out the other day, because the thing is, I understand why they're making CGI adaptations of this dude's work, because his stuff is so complicated visually that you could never do like a straightforward hand-drawn adaptation in today's world. Like, maybe if he had been famous 20 years ago, but even more than 20, like 30 years ago, he probably could have got a decent OVA out of Blame. But like, yeah, I don't like the look of their CG stuff, and I also just thought the show was fucking boring. I really wanted to like it, so I kept watching it for 4 episodes, but I never got into it at all. Sket Dance. This was another. This was like a Gintama related adjacent show. Because the guy who drew the original manga had been an assistant to Gintama's, or on Gintama. They did like a kind of similar gag comedy, and it's just not anywhere near as funny as Gintama. But it there's like crossovers and homages to it and stuff like that. It's kind of like the Hayate, the combat butler, to Sayonara Zetsubou Sensei, as Sket Dance is to Gintama. I think that's probably a fair comparison, but I don't know. Sketchbook Full Colors. It's a Iyashikei high school girls show. It's real slow. And for some reason I was under the impression it was 26 episodes, which might be part of why I dropped it. I think this is one I actually fell asleep watching. It's very rare. I mean, you see me right now. I am tired as shit, and I still am pulling together enough energy to be recording actively right now. It's hard for me to pass out while doing something, and I passed out watching this show, and I think that's when I dropped it. That was when I was like, alright, this is too much. Skip Beat. It's a shoujo. Yep. Yeah. Sky Girls. I watched like 20 episodes of this before dropping it. Cute girls do like jet plane things. Like they fly on these contraptions. This is like the predecessor to Strike Witches, where instead of like in Strike Witches they said, why have the girls in an apparatus when we can just have them like be the mecha, you know? But in this they fly in these apparatuses, and the girls are super cute. I really love the designs in this show, but like it was always pretty middle of the road. Like the whole show I was just kind of like, yeah, all right, I'll keep watching. But then the second half, it like develops more of a dramatic narrative that was just totally flat, and I was like struggling to power through it, and eventually couldn't take it anymore and gave up. So yeah, that's why I dropped Sky Girls, in spite of getting pretty far. Slam Dunk. I really haven't. I watched 1 episode of this just because my brother Victor was watching it. I think I just sat in on an episode. Which he gave up. He made it like halfway through and just gave up. And I don't know, it didn't seem like something I'd ever end up really watching. Sola is a visual novel adaptation. It was one of the first ones I saw that was not good. Like, oh, this is based on a manga. It's not even... It feels like a visual novel adaptation. I remember it had a vampire lolly in a suitcase at some point. Am I thinking of the right show? I hope so. I don't know. Yeah, who cares? Who gives a single fuck? The show's 10 years old. No one even remembers it. Supersonico. It's fucking dumb and vapid. Sonic X. This is another show from the Fox Box. It's a fucking Sonic cartoon. Gotta go fast! Gotta go faster! Sora no Toshimono. I fucking, this is one that I had initially dropped after episode 1, and then because people kept talking it up, like there's some people who really love this show, such as Sai, the YouTuber Sai, SYY. He is currently in the middle of doing an epic length series of videos about why he loves this show, inspired by the Asterisk War and K-On! Loving Thesis videos. It's like a combination of those, like the length of Asterisk War with the love of K-On! Loving Thesis, and he's like super into it. I know a bunch of people like that, but I watched 2 episodes and I was just like I don't think it's bad. It's just not my style of comedy at all. But maybe Sai will eventually convince me to watch it. I haven't seen part 2 of his Loving Thesis yet, but The Girl Who Leapt Through Space. I actually really want to give this a second chance because I didn't even drop this because I didn't like it. I just didn't get around to it. It's like a really odd show where this girl gets like stranded on a ship with this like AI cube that has the voice and mind of Lelouch from Code Geass. That's how I remember it. It's been a long time, so I don't know how accurate that is. Oh, this show. I did some vlogs about this on Digidoes Anime. I found it obnoxious. I didn't like it. It's another like girl on an adventure story, but she's like marrying this prince guy or something. I don't know. I barely remember it. I didn't like it. Votoms. This is another classic 80s mecha series. This one's pretty cool. I'm just not that into mechs. So like every time I watch a mech show, there's that point where it just becomes like you realize that a big part of the appeal is that you're supposed to watch mechs fight. And if I'm not that into mechs fighting, then it doesn't really work. But this one's got like a really cool main character guy who's just like a masculine badass dude who like harkens back to the 80s action movie era kind of thing. And he's a cool dude. Real cool. Yeah. Soko no Strain. I remember this being fucking weird. It was a mech show with a female protagonist, which is really different. You almost never see that. In the first episode, like all of her fucking friends and family die, and then she's like on her own to go, I don't know, save space. I guess I just didn't really. I remember it. Like I remember it because it was such a like shocking twist. I just guess I wasn't that into it, for whatever reason. Soul Eater not. Man, okay. I love Soul Eater. I love the manga in particular. And I read the first chapter of this when it came out, and I thought it was mediocre. Like it was basically just Soul Eater, except it's a cute girls doing cute things show. And I was like, okay, I like this genre. It's got some Yuri hints in it and stuff. Fine, but it just didn't seem that interesting. And then the anime adaptation took like the first chapter and stretched it to a whole fucking episode unnecessarily, or maybe even more than an episode. There's a lot of filler, and it didn't look that good, which is kind of a shock for a Bones show. And this one even had like some really bad animation fuckery that people made fun of forever. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't understand why it even happened. Sosei no Onmyoji. This one was it just felt like a generic shonen action thing, and I was not interested. I talked about it on Weebcast. Shoshin Shoujo Matoi. I talked about this one as well in Finish or Fail, I think, that I just didn't understand the first episode at all. Like, I found it totally incomprehensible. I didn't get what the hell was going on. I was very lost and scared and confused. The directing was bizarre. Speed Grapher. This one, another one where the directing was very bizarre. This is like a very like seedy, dark adult show with a really bizarre and confusing plot. And I remember just having no idea what was going on through the first episode. And I've generally gotten the impression that like this show is okay if you can wrap your head around it. But good luck doing that. Wait, didn't we see this guy's name before? What did we look at him? Wait, this is the guy who directed fucking, what's it called? Shinsekai Yori, right? Wasn't this? Yeah. Okay, he did have another directing credit. He directed fucking Speed Grapher, which is also really confusingly directed. Well, now we know the story there. Now we've got a connection. Got a sick, nasty development there. Strawberry Panic. I talked about this in the Yuri cast. It's a real trashy fucking soap drama with a bunch of girls making out and shit. And I watched 18 whole episodes of it, even though I wasn't that into it. But it's Yuri, man. You gotta watch it. If it's Yuri, you gotta watch it. Street Fighter 2-5. This came on like Tech TV or something. It was on some other channel. I don't remember which. This show is corny as fuck, man. It was just the corniest shit in the world, and I watched a bunch of episodes of it just because it happened to come on. It's odd. This is definitely porn. Stringendo and Accelerando Ultimatum Sarah. Gorgeous art in that series. Oh, this is also porn. Tsukide, Tsukide, Tsukide. I thought I did watch episode 2 of that. That's some lolly shit right there. Super Lovers. This is a really weird yaoi series. Because this guy, like, this dude's older, and like his mom is like this fucking crazy, weird, globe-trotting lady, and she goes to Canada and like adopts some feral child and then leaves him in this guy's care, and I guess they're gonna fall in love. So he's gonna fuck a feral child or something. Yeah. Whatever. Super Robot Wars OG, the animation. This is the OVA. Watched the first episode and wasn't interested. And then they made a TV show, The Inspector, and I also wasn't interested. You really got to be a big mecha fan to appreciate the Super Robot Wars anime. Sushi Police. This is a fucking weird-ass, cartoony CGI show about literal sushi police. Whatever. Suteki Tante Labyrinth. Oh my god, I vaguely remember. I don't even think I remember like half watching the first episode of this and just like being completely not interested in it. I don't know what the hell these two chicks are. These like weird cyber soldiers surrounding this group of totally innocuous generic kids. But I just remember this show having like a really fucking generic look to it, and me being annoyed with it. This looks like porn. No, this isn't porn. This is just some shitty 3-minute episode thing. What about this? This might be porn. Yeah, this one's porn. There we go. One of them had to be. Swing Out Sisters. I know that's porn. This one's fairly entertaining. And wait, how do I have it dropped at 1 of 1? Well, that's obviously completed. I watched this one with friends for some reason. I don't remember why. One of my friends was like, "Oh, you gotta watch this show," and I was like, "Okay." And I think we were playing music over it too, and it fit like insanely well, and we thought it was hilarious. This was an Astro Score. This was from the same season as Astro Score. In fact, it was one of the 3 Astro Scores that aired that season. This is like a spin-off of Take Q that I just didn't think was funny, so I didn't bother with it. Takarajima. This one I should definitely put on hold. This is considered an all-time classic. It's one of the early Osamu Dezaki shows, a guy who's a legend of the industry. And I actually liked episode 1. Which is shocking because at the time that I watched this, which would have been almost 10 years ago, I was not really able to handle 70s stuff much, but I thought it was pretty good. And I think I just dropped it because I thought I'd never get around to it again, but I definitely should. I've only heard good things about that show. Tales of the Abyss. This was just really lame, and so I dropped it. Tamiyura Hitatose. So I watched the whole Tamiyura OVA, I think. Which came first. It was like 4 short episodes, and then they made a TV show out of it, and I watched the first episode, and this was actually what made me finally realize that I don't really like Iyashikei. Like, from 2007 through 2011, I was just under the impression that, like, I would like, because I liked, slow, cute girl slice of life shows, and I just associated, like, back then I didn't really make a huge distinction between slice of life and Iyashikei, which eventually I would, because that specifically the Iyashikei stuff I find mind-numbing. And this show is what made me finally realize it and kind of give up on the genre at long last. God damn it, fucking Tanaka-kun wa Itsumo Kidaruge. This show, I watched the first episode and thought it was and then everybody was like, "Oh, you gotta watch Tanaka-kun, it's like the funniest show." And I was like, "Alright." And I watched episode 2 and I went, I don't know, man. Maybe I got a different sense of humor from some of y'all. I didn't think it's that funny. I don't get it. Tenkan Drillin. This one I actually really enjoyed the first episode. It's a fantasy show. It's like a children's fantasy show with a really cute blonde girl as the main character. And I think she was the main character. Maybe it was this dude. In any case, it's just a cute little fantasy show with really cool character designs and artwork. But, I think I watched the first episode right when it came out, and then just didn't end up checking out anymore. And it's not like anybody was singing its praises to high heaven. Moomin. I watched an episode of this Moomin series because it was connected in 1991. 78 episodes. Moomin is like a long running series about these little weird creatures, and they live in this quaint little fantasy land. It's a pretty nice looking show. But it's slow and it's a family show. And Tensei Opera Milky Homes. Did I really watch 8 episodes? I think I watched the first 4 episodes twice. Because I don't remember watching 8 episodes. Milky Homes was a show that I really wanted to like and just didn't quite click with me. It's 4 girls who are all total idiots, and they're all supposed to be solving mysteries, but they're just really fucking dumb, and they fail at their job of solving mysteries. This show was kind of Yuri before Yuri. Like, I feel like they're the same. They're in the same spirit. The same people like them. They have the same fan base or something. And both of them I don't get for some reason. Tari. I don't know why the hell I dropped this. It seemed like it was going to be interesting. I think I watched the first episode when it aired, and I was like just kind of on the fence about it, and then dropped it. And I've heard good things about it. I'll give it a shot someday. Book of Bantora. This show I really fucking hated. This show is another one that's emblematic of a lot of things I hate about anime, which is to say that it is a show that it's exceedingly plot heavy and just throws shit tons of information at you all at once. It's very similar to Horizon on the Middle of Nowhere in that regard, that it just introduces tons and tons of characters and factions and concepts, and it never stops. And it never takes a minute to like make me care. It never takes a minute to be like, hey, here's the character you like, or hey, here's the thing. It just keeps having more arc words and more magic systems and more governments that you have to remember, and just stuff. And I'm just like, stop, I can't. And so initially, I dropped it after 1 episode, and then I knew some people who liked it, so I thought I'd give it another shot, and I made it through 3, and then I just got really pissed off and quit watching it. Tears to Tiara. This was sort of a generic fantasy show, as I understood it, based on a visual novel, and I mean, it was not offensive, but it was also not impressive. I feel like I've said that sentence a lot of times. Tagami Bachi Reverse. So I watched all of season 1 of Tagami Bachi, or Letter B, which was always kind of okay. It's a very pretty show. It's sort of a quiet, contemplative take on a shonen adventure. Like a moody, feelsy. It's kind of like a Kino's Journey for kids almost, or like a Mushishi for kids, like that kind of atmosphere that's like traveling through a beautiful world. Maybe even Kashurn Sins for kids. And I liked it enough to watch the whole first season, but then after a few episodes of season 2, I was just like, you know what? I don't care enough anymore. It might have even been that it was airing at the time. Telepathy Shoujo Ran. I don't remember jack shit about this. It says I watched 3 episodes. Don't remember jack shit about it. What is this Gurren Lagann? Dropped at 1 of 1. The uncut version of episode 6. Maybe I just didn't finish it. How is that possible? Completed. Come on. This seems impossible. Parallel Works. Apparently I watched 6 out of 8 of these. I don't remember watching 6 episodes of Parallel Works or dropping it or anything. I don't know. It probably just never, like, I think these came out over a long period of time, so maybe I just marked it as dropped because I didn't finish them. But I don't remember liking the ones I'd seen, so I'll probably watch them all eventually. What is this? Oh, Angel Sanctuary. Yeah, dropped at 0 of 3. I started watching it and I was just like, what the hell is this? I don't know what this is. And I quit. The Big O dropped this pretty considerably far in. And it's funny that this is considered a 26 episode show because it's definitely 2 very distinct seasons that were made like years apart. So I don't know why it's just considered one show. Big O is it's another Chiaki Kanaka show, and this one it was another one I finished or failed, in fact, I believe. And like, it starts off strong. The first season is pretty good, but it ends on like a massive cliffhanger. And then season 2 picks up, and it just completely fucking changes everything and doesn't make any sense anymore. Like, immediately. Like, the first season is setting up these background mysteries and stuff, and it's just interesting enough to be, like, fun on its own. It's really well produced and cool. It's got a great aesthetic. Dorothy's great. Roger's great. And the robot itself is great. So it's a fun show. A fun little show. And then... yeah, it suddenly is like, okay, we're doing the plot now, we're building up, we're going to do the plot, and then it ends on a cliffhanger, and the show was not successful in Japan, so they didn't make the second season. It got canceled. And then Toonami paid them to do it. Like, they commissioned them to finish Big O. And then the second half is just a total mindfuck, clusterfuck, everything fuck. And I really, really hated it. And so 20 episodes in, I just couldn't fucking take it anymore. And I dropped it. Yeah, it made me upset. It's upsetting to make it that far into a show and drop it. The Hakendan. This is an OVA that I was watching because, again, 90s, which has really, really interesting and great animation. But the plot was difficult to follow and uninteresting. But the animation it's worth watching that episode for the animation alone if you're a big animation guy. The Idolmaster. Yeah, this show seemed all right, and it's not that into idols and stuff. The problem with the Idolmaster is that it has a huge cast and it focuses on like each one in a different episode, and some of them I really like and some of them I don't give a single fuck about. I love Miki, and I love what's her name, the cool one, the sporty one, but the rest I couldn't care less at all. So, it's a rocky road through the Idolmaster. The Third. This is another one of these shows that like I really wanted to like because it's got like this cute main girl and like the feel of the show looks really cool. And I would see ads for it all the time, but yeah, it was just boring. It was just really boring. It's like a post-apocalypse show about a girl in like a tank, I think. Tiger and Bunny. I made it pretty far into this one. This one's kind of... this is another show with ups and downs, for sure. Like, it's a transforming hero show. It's got an interesting protagonist, an interesting dynamic between its characters and stuff. Great designs. Some cool action scenes. But sometimes it would feel really awkward, and sometimes it would feel cool. Sometimes it'd have like a great narrative point, and then sometimes it would have a really dumb episode. And there's like a definitive end of arc in like episode 13 that I think I remember being fairly strong, and then it just goes into like, a new arc, and I just totally lost interest in it, in that new arc. My brother Victor is a big fan of this show, or at least he was like he at least an apologist of it. Tiger Mask W. Oh my god, this is still going. Yeah, I watched the first episode and just wasn't that into it. I wanted to be because it's about wrestling, but like the thing about it is that to me the most interesting thing about wrestling is that it's not real. That there's this meta narrative to it, and in the show it's just real. Like it's just wrestling narratives are just real. So it kind of defeats the point. Time Travel Shoujo. This is like an edutainment show about girls traveling through time to meet famous inventors. It was alright, but not enough to continue. To Be Hero. This is a really weird-ass Chinese cartoon comedy show. I just didn't think it was funny enough. To Heart. This was the original visual novel adaptation that kicked off the fucking trend. This was the one that was like, yeah, we're doing this now. This is what's happening. We're doing visual novels now. This is going to be the 2000s. And, it looks really good, but I thought it was boring. But it did look really good. Toki Neido. What the fuck is this? Is this porn? This doesn't even look like porn. Apparently this is porn. It just looks normal. I still have like 70 more. Tokumu Sentai Shinesman. I think this is like this is almost like a precursor to Tiger and Bunny, because it was like a transforming heroes show, but they do it as a job. They're like working for a company or something. I don't know. I think I just didn't get it. Tokyo ESP. This is a big bombastic fighting anime, and it was like somewhat entertaining, but also somewhat of a clusterfuck. And I thought it was all right, but not enough to keep watching it. Tokyo Ghoul, you know, edgy ass premise. Guy turns into a ghoul, starts wanting to eat people and shit. First episode is all right, and I just lost interest because it seemed really generic. A lot of people love this manga. People will constantly tell you the anime sucks, but the manga is incredible, and the manga does have like phenomenal artwork. So I have considered reading it. Apparently, in the latest chapter, the main character fucking smashes puss, and like for a whole chapter, that some dude is so excited about this that he keeps commenting it on various videos, like, dude, oh my god, Tokyo Ghoul, he smashed puss for a whole chapter. That's how he's been phrasing it, and he like keeps commenting it like, oh my god, it's so great. And I'm like, okay, I kind of want to read this now because this guy's excitement is rubbing off on me. I've never been so excited about a character I know nothing about getting to smash puss before. God, this is 3 hours. We've been going for 3 hours. This never ends. This will not end. Do I even have space for this? I'm worried I'm going to run out of space. I think I have space for this. Oh, God. Maybe I should cut the clip and then restart it, just to be safe. This can't be a more than 65 gig clip, right? No, that's impossible. Okay, let's continue. Fuck me. Yeah, Tokyo Tribe 2. This is fucking weird. So this is a like gangster show in Tokyo. And when I say gangster, I mean like street gangs, like throwing up gang signs, like a hip hop gangster show. And it's like really grimdark. Like the show has like the first episode has a scene where this like gigantic dude in a tub is just like raping all these people. Like he like rapes a guy to death in the first episode. It was fucking insanity. People are just like going around beating each other up and shit. And the weirdest part is that it's Tokyo Tribe 2. There is no Tokyo Tribe 1 anime. Like, it's based on Tokyo Tribe 2, the manga, which I believe is a sequel to Tokyo Tribe, the manga, but there was no anime of the first one. So there's just an anime of, like, a random segment of Tokyo Tribe 2. It was fucking weird. Also, it's, like, one of the only anime that, like, not only goes out of its way to make the characters, like, look like darker skinned, like not just like Japanese, but some of them just look black, like because the show is obviously supposed to be like hip hop gangs, like it's supposed to be like LA gangs or something, but in Tokyo. So it's funny the way it emphasizes race, whereas most anime just have like kind of light skinned characters. Anyways, Toshokan Senso Library Wars. I thought this was boring as shit. I had some friends who liked it, but I didn't get it at all. And I don't even think I finished the first episode. Hamtaro! Yeah! Hamtaro was on Cartoon Network for a while. I really enjoyed it. Me and my brothers were big fans. We actually got some hamsters named after characters from the show. They died horribly. So that's nice. Hamtaro's good. It's unbelievably long, so there's no way I'm ever gonna watch more of it than what I have. Yeah. Akagi. Akagi is a cool show about this crazy motherfucker who plays mahjong really, really well, and he's good at making death-defying bets. It had a spiritual successor in Kaiji, which is a lot easier to watch if you don't know the rules of mahjong, like I don't. Here's the thing about Akagi, though. Akagi is a manga that has not ended yet. It's going to end next year apparently, but it's been going since 1991. And like the manga is initially like it's about this kid. He starts off with he's like 13 and he's like a badass already. And then it like time skips to when he's an adult. And then he starts this mahjong game in one of the early like volumes, and it's still going. It's been one game. The manga has been one game for like 20 years that this thing has been being published. He's been in this one insanely long mahjong game forever against this guy, I guess. I think that's how it's been explained to me anyways. I don't entirely know what it's like. There's like, the show is known for its like insane visual metaphors and stuff. And there's one like an entire volume apparently where like one of the characters like just goes to hell and has to fight their way out of hell or something as like an extended metaphor. It's batshit nuts. That's all I really know about Akagi. But the anime didn't cover very much of it. Oh, where was I? Where was Akagi? There you are. The Toho Dojin anime. I only marked this as dropped because I didn't know when the other episodes were going to come out. And they still haven't. So it looks like there was one episode. And this was just a fan-made Toho anime. And they made an episode and they had all these professional voice actresses on it. And it was pretty well animated and it was good. It was fun. And they said they were going to make more episodes. And then, it's been almost 10 years. I don't know. Did episode 2 ever come? I guess episode 2 must have come out. I don't know when. Let's see when the forum post of like discussion of episode 2 came out, if such a thing came out. It says episode 3 discussion, but it's not out, right? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, yeah, that's why I dropped it, because it literally wasn't coming out. Tokugatan. This is one of the weirdest anime ever made because it's chronologically fucking backwards. The show is 26 episodes long, and it is entirely in backwards sequence, which apparently is important. Apparently it's supposed to be that way. Don't watch it in reverse. You gotta watch it normal. But it starts from the end of the show and works its way back from there. And as a result, I had no idea what was going on at any point in this show. It's really fucking weird. It's tonally all over the place. Like the first couple episodes are like really serious, and then it becomes like a wacky comedy at parts. And I just don't even fucking know what this show is. Like, I watched a significant amount of it, and I still don't know what the hell it is. Yuji Yamaguchi is a crazy-ass director who does weird-ass shit. I'm not surprised he did fucking Crime Edge. That show also is fucking weird. I know he did Fate Stay Night, which is actually really interesting in its directing. The biggest problem with the original Fate Stay Night anime is that it's an attempt to make a Fate Stay Night anime. I don't know anything about this one. Did he direct Sweet Precure? Okay, he just worked on it. Or Smile and Sweet he worked on, it looks like. But yeah, this dude... Oh, he did Gao Gaigar Final, and Yamato Boshi Toho no Tabibito. Everything he's done is fucking weird, man. This guy's a bizarre director. Who the hell would think to put a show in fucking reverse? And also, it's like tied into the plot of Moonlight Lady, and Yamato Boshi. Like, they're all part of one connected universe. So they're all based on like a porn game. But this is like an actual porn. Like, this is just straight up porn. And it's pretty good at that. And then this is like a related story. Fucking weird. Tokugatan's the weirdest thing ever. I want to finish it one day just to try to wrap my head around it. Transformers Armada. This was on Cartoon Network. It's one of the anime Transformers shows that are not very good. This is from the 1991 project. This is... as it says here, based on the same story that produced the musical The Sound of Music. I've never seen The Sound of Music in its entirety. I don't know how closely this resembles it, but considering it's 40 episodes long, probably adds some stuff in. It's one of the World Masterpiece Theater shows, I believe. And, the first episode seemed alright, but it also seemed kind of boring, and I didn't want to sit through it. This Triangle Heart, this is the origin of Nanoha. It was originally from... she was just a minor character in this Triangle Heart franchise, which is not very good. But Nanoha came out of it, which is also, of debatable quality, depending on which season you're talking about. Tribe Cool Crew, I did some vlogs about this back when it was airing. It's a very fun kids show about dance, about hip-hop dancing. Really lovable main characters, especially this girl. She's fucking cool. And really fun dancing and stuff, but it very quickly got repetitive and old, so I stopped watching it. Trinity 7. This was it's like a harem action show with some pretty good artwork and fan service in it, but I didn't care about the plot enough to actually watch it. I made it through 3 episodes pretty much just on the strength of the visuals. Titania. This is from the same creator as Legend of the Galactic Heroes, but with none of the amazing production and feel. So it's just kind of off-putting and weird. Captain Harlock. Classic show. Made it through 5 whole episodes of this one, even though it's from the 70s. It was just a bit too slow for me. The thing about all the 70s anime is that they're always like 50 episodes, so they always move really slow and have like lots of just crap that doesn't seem to need to be there, which is what makes it really difficult for me to sit through them. Space Brothers. I watched the first episode and it seemed okay, I guess, and then my brother Victor watched like 30 episodes and he was like, this isn't worth it. It moves too slow, and the characters are too obnoxious. Tekkaman Blade. This is a sci-fi show from the 90s about this guy named Dangerous Boy, or D-Boy for short. I said for sure. I'm fucking tired. Holy shit. I don't know. I didn't like Tekkaman Blade because it took place in space, and space is boring to look at. Stelvia of the Universe. I remember actually I was liking this show. It's like a sci-fi show about a bunch of space cadets on like a colony somewhere, and this girl... and the main guy, I remember that like a relationship actually forms between the 2 main characters, and it was kind of cute and sweet, and I was like, yeah, alright. And I just never fucking got around to finishing it. That's just my life. I never finish anything. It's a story that's what this should have been beaten into your head by now. I do not finish anime. Udan no Kuni, this one was kind of cute. It's a bit this guy raising this little fucking yokai kid, and it's alright. I did a finish or fail about it. Umi Monogatari. This is another Iyashikei show from the master himself. Why do I never remember his name? Junichi Sato. It's boring. That's just long and short of it. Urusei Yatsura. This is the classic Rumiko Takahashi rom-com that spawned basically everything that you hate about modern harem anime. It's all because of Urusei Yatsura. And, I know this show is supposed to be pretty good. It's 195 episodes. There's no fucking way I'm watching all of it. I watched all of Ranma 1/2. I'm not going down that rabbit hole again, man. There's a lot of shit in Ranma 1/2. And Urusei Yatsura seems even more obnoxious, quite frankly. So, I don't know if I can sit through it. This show, all I remember about this is that it had some really awkward, bizarre animation that was really ugly. Utawereru Mono, The False Faces. I did a finish or fail about this. It's just too slow. It's just a little too slow to get to the fucking point. Vampire Knight. I didn't even finish the first episode of this. It was a popular shoujo anime 10 years ago. Venus vs. Virus. This one, I read the first 2 volumes of the manga. I mentioned this briefly in the Yuri podcast that, I just didn't feel like it ever picked up. And then I watched an episode of the anime, and the production was just not good. So I was like, fuck it. I'm not watching this fucking show. Wagamama High Spec. Oh, this was just like a 5-minute episodes kind of thing. Whatever. Who cares? Wagaya no Oinari-sama. What the fuck? What is this? This doesn't look familiar to me at all. And the fact that I watched one episode and it's from 2008 means I probably watched one episode in 2008. I have no recollection of this at all. This doesn't even look slightly familiar to me. Our Home's Fox Daddy. What the fuck is that? I don't remember that show in the slightest. Wake Up Girls Zoo and Wake Up Girls. So Wake Up Girls was Yamakan's comeback show about a group of idols who basically was about to blow up, and then they failed. Their manager took off with all their money, and so they're trying to build themselves back up. It's kind of a slightly darker take on the idol genre. But it's kind of boring, and I didn't care. And then there's also Wake Up Girls Zoo, which is fucking adorable, but not that funny. It's like a little spin-off thing where they're animal girls. Watashi ga mottete dousunda. This is, Kiss Him Not Me. I did a finish or fail on this. It's alright. It's not really my genre. Sisters of Welber. This was a fucking weird one. This was a Production IG show that felt like a B-Train show. Like, this show has everything that a B-Train show has. It's just better produced. But it's like two girls, Yuri hints, they're girls with guns, they're on an adventure. The plot is totally uninteresting and stupid. And there's a really obnoxious talking tank that follows them around. IIRC, that's fucking weird. And it was just kind of obnoxious. And I eventually gave up on watching it. I think I'd even been defending it at first because other people were saying it was dumb, and I was like, no. But then I was like, yeah. White Album, the original. I don't know what happens in this show that everybody hates it, because like I hear a lot of complaints about this show. I don't know if it just like falls apart later. I remember the first episode being good. Like I watched it and enjoyed it, and then just never got around to the rest because I watched it when it first aired, and I was like, yeah, this seems like an okay romance drama. But it seems to be pretty widely like people always say, hey, don't watch White Album 1, just watch White Album 2, because they're totally unrelated. They're just completely different shows based on games in the same series. So now we're finally at White Album 2, which I promised I was going to talk about like episodes ago. White Album 2 is a love triangle show about this guy and these two girls who basically become best friends in the early part of the show. Like the three of them start hanging out, and the show becomes about their burgeoning friendship, and it's beautiful, and they're all good friends. And then but both the girls are in love with the guy. So eventually it comes to a point where it's like he's got to fucking make a decision, and so he does. And then the show just becomes a really depressing show about how they ruined their friendship, and the relationship's not even that good anyways. And like I just was like, it just got so moody and so dramatic, and it was like, I don't want to put myself through this. This sucks. I don't want to watch this anymore. So I gave up. I think that's what happened anyways. I don't remember that well. Witchcraft Works. This is a show where this big lady fights monsters, and Princess carries this guy around. This seemed alright. I didn't hate it, but it didn't grab my attention. Wizard Barristers. This is a show with a pretty good first episode, and then it just kind of like, or at least it's got an interesting premise. It's about wizard lawyers, like, you know, doing wizard lawyer stuff. And it's got great character designs from the same guy who did like Mezzo Forte and Kite and shit. And interesting idea, just executed really awkwardly. Like it's just an odd show that doesn't come together very well. Wordsworth, I think this is porn, but like weird porn. It's like a high fantasy porn. I just didn't like it at all. World Destruction Seikai Bokumetsu no Rokunin. What is this? What is this? I don't remember. 2008 in one episode, so probably the same reason as the last one I said that about. Next, we've got X. So X, the movie, I was a huge fan of when me and Boyd were first getting into anime, because it was like one of the first 5 that he got on VHS that I saw. And I thought it was badass. And then we got the first DVD of the show, and it was really confusing, and it wasn't nearly as good looking as the movie, of course. And it was just kind of slow. And it just wasn't as good as the movie, and I didn't care to watch any more of it. XXX Holic, or just Holic. I don't know how you're supposed to say it. This is a fun series. I think I read more of the manga, but like, it's just kind of a monster of the week, supernatural show about this guy who ends up working for this lady who's like, everything is destiny, nothing is a coincidence. And she's cool. It's a cool show. It's got really inconsistent animation, and I think I was watching it with my brother, and he just didn't ever feel like watching more of it, so I never got around to it again. And then I went, I'll probably never watch this. Oh yeah, fucking this show, Snafu. I have a whole long video about me trying to watch both seasons of this. I finished the first season just on sheer willpower, didn't like it, started season 2, and it still didn't like it, and was like, I can't put up with this anymore. Clearly the people who like this aren't thinking the same way I am. Yakitate Japan. This is great. This show is great. This is the original Food Wars. It's about this kid who makes bread. He's got the hands of God, and he makes bread. And his bread makes people have fucking acid trip hallucinations about how good it is. I just figured I'd never get back to it because it's 69 episodes long. But it is good. Yakushiji Ryoko no Kaiki Jikenbo. This is just like chick version of Golgo 13. Like, it's just a woman who's like super badass. She's just like she kills people for money, and she's cool or something like that, or she's a investigator. Yeah, whatever. It's just like a really standard spy movie thing. Yamano Susume second season. So Yamano Susume was originally a series of 3-minute episodes of these cute girls mountain hiking, and I thought it was okay. I didn't like it that much, but I watched the whole thing just for the hell of it because it was really pretty. And in the second season, they made it like 13 episodes and 24 episodes long, or 13-minute episodes, I mean. And it's gorgeously animated, but I just don't really care about the characters enough to watch a whole show about them. So, they're not that endearing. The animation's great, though. Yamato Nadeshiko Shichi Henge. This is the Wallflower, right? Yeah. Popular shoujo anime of the mid-2000s once again. Shitty animation, and I just wasn't that into it. I think I watched like half of episode 2 as well. And the first episode of the live-action show, I think, too. But I just didn't get into it. Yami Shibai is another shittily produced short horror show. Oh my god, I'm almost at the end. Yami Toboshi to Hon no Tabibito. This is I think this is from like, I don't know if this is related to Kanazuki no Miko. It was just another like Yuri show from the time that was confusing and weird, and like some people liked it, but I watched the first episode and just was like totally baffled. I didn't know what was going on. Same director as Tokugatan. Like I said, the guy's shit is fucking weird, man. His shit is fucking weird. Why do I know Tonomi Chizuki? I don't know. I don't care. Why do I know anything? Why do I know so many fucking Japanese names? Oh man, I forgot about this. This was a like the main characters of Romance of the Three Kingdoms are teleported to modern day, and they're transformed into lollies for some reason. And it's like it's fucking stupid. And I remember it having a Norio Wakamoto performance that was, that was really odd, because he plays like a little stuffed animal, and he was like way over the top, as he tends to be. Where am I? Where the fuck am I? Here we go. Yoko. Somehow I never watched. I watched the whole first OVA. There's 2 episode of Yokohama Shopping Log, and then I watched this first episode of the second one, and then I guess I dropped it. The most blissed out Iyashike show of all. It's really gorgeous. I should finish it because it's short, which is what all Iyashike should be. It should be like 1 episode that I can throw on and just go, and then never have to finish it. God, I keep losing my place. There we go. Oh, this was an interesting one. Yoku Wakaru Gedai Maho. What's particularly weird about this is that this is from the same. It's based on a light novel from the same author as All You Need Is Kill, and All You Need Is Kill was like this hard ass sci-fi novel that was just like really dark and violent and intense and not cute at all. And then he made this thing, which, as you can see, is the opposite. It's like a magical comedy show. I remember it having some charming aspects, but it just wasn't that good. And eventually I got sick of it and stopped watching it. Yonde Masuyo Azazel-san. This show is actually fucking hilarious at times. I watched like 8 episodes of the TV show. It's just inconsistent. When this show is funny, it is really fucking funny. And it's gorgeously animated by Production IG. It's got a really cute girl and a bunch of crazy ass demons. And sometimes it's fucking hilarious, and other times it's just really stupid. Lots of like potty humor. Yoru no Yatterman, man, I just thought this was boring as hell and didn't make it past episode 1. And I felt justified when all the people who liked it eventually got bored of it by the end. Yoshinaga-san Chino Gargoyle. This is like these cute girls have a gargoyle inherited in their family. I don't fucking know why. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows why this happens. This is porn, right? Yeah. Elf Princess Ran. Is this the one I think it is? No, I don't know what this is. Never mind. Yoamushi Pedal. Watched 2 episodes of this just because I was sitting in Victor's room while he was watching it, and it didn't seem like I would be interested in continuing it at all. Yozakura Quartet, the original. This was the first adaptation of this manga that I had always thought looked cool, but I never picked it up and read it. And it was being directed by Ko Matsuo, who, as I mentioned before, is a really interesting director, but he did not do interesting work here. I watched the first episode, and I just thought it was boring and weird. Then they kept making more versions of it. This was the TV show that was directed by Ryo Chimo, I think, who's a really excellent key animator and did a ton of work on it. This show is super well animated, incredible animation, but like every other iteration of the story, the plot makes no fucking sense, and I don't understand what's happening in the show at all. There's also an OVA that he had directed beforehand, which is also unbelievably gorgeous animation, but it doesn't make any fucking sense. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! I watched like 100 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! I could probably mark this as completed in terms of like sheer number of episodes actually consumed, because I've seen the first 50 like 4 times at least, maybe even more. Yu-Gi-Oh! Man, I loved it. I was super into fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid. At some point, I stopped being able to keep up with it. So I've probably seen about 100 episodes. I still like Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh's great. Yu-Gi-Oh's fucking cool. I'll watch it forever. But then they made like a bunch of other seasons, and GX was fucking lame. Look at this guy. Look at his fucking hair. Ugh. And then there's Zexal, where they just straight up have stands. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh's always been like obviously influenced by JoJo, but this one they literally have stands. Why do they need stands to play a card game? Nobody knows. Yume Tsukai, this is an odd one. This is from the guy who would go on to make Mysterious Girlfriend X. This is the one he had made before that. And it's like about people, like these girls who go into dreams or some shit. I watched a couple episodes and was just like, I don't know what's happening here. Yume Iro Patissiere is a shoujo manga about a girl who wants to make cakes. It's cute. It's cute and it's got cooking. It's got food. I like food. I like shows about food. I like characters who like food. I think I've been over that. Yuri Yuri. I just don't find this show as funny as other people do. It's got a fan base. There's people who really love Yuri Yuri who watch it forever because they just like these dumbass girls. I just think they're dumb, and I don't like it. Your Roommates 3D. What the hell was this one? This is it's a short comedy thing. I don't remember it. Hugo the Negotiator, right? Yeah. This show is very badly produced, and the first episode is really slow, and I didn't see the appeal of it. We're getting into the weeds here, man. Yuki Yuna is a hero. This one, the first episode was kind of too slow, and I wasn't sure if this was going for like just another Madoka-esque dark magical girl thing, because that's what it really felt like. I mean, it's a hero show rather than magical girls, but I've heard it's got some twists of its own. Some people have praised this show. I'm curious about it. I'd probably give it another look. J-Decker. This is one of the Brave series. The robot shows of the 90s made by Sunrise, and this one's about a kid with a fucking police robot, and they fucking stop crimes, and it was pretty entertaining. I think I watched some of this on a plane. I think I watched it on the way back from the Philippines, or some of it in the Philippines or something. I thought it was alright, but there was no way I was going to watch 50 whole episodes of it, and that's why I dropped it. You may have noticed that's a trend. And then there's Gao Gaigar, which is the most famous of the Brave series. This one, I did not enjoy the 3 episodes I watched of it, because it is, like, visually intense. Like, it's just a lot of, like, shit going on all the time. And this is one that I feel you really have to be a mecha fan to appreciate, because it's really about the robots. It's about cool robots. That's the reason to watch this show, is that it's cool robots. Not that much of a big robot guy. J-Decker is much more of a... You can enjoy it without just being into robots. Yu Yu Shiki. A lot of people say this is like one of the best comedy shows of the last few years, but I watched the first episode with my brother, and we did not laugh once. And I was like, I don't know what this show is supposed to be, but... Season 2 of Zero no Tsukaima, which I just dropped because I figured I'd never get back to it. I watched Zero no Tsukaima Season 1 when it aired, and I thought it was okay. And then I rewatched it like in 2013 or 14, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. Like, I expected to hate it or something, and I was like, oh, this show's actually pretty alright. And I started watching Season 2, and I thought it was okay. And then I just didn't get around to finishing it, and I still haven't. So eventually I said, I'll never finish this. Zetman. This was like a kind of cool action show. Very like 90s style transforming hero thing. Violent and dark and stuff, but I just figured I would never watch the rest of it. Amazing Twins. Oh, this was fucking weird. This is like an OVA that kind of reminds me of Yozakura Quartet, in that it's another like well animated but confusing thing about a girl with a scarf fighting and stuff, and she's got like a ghost sister or some shit. I don't remember. Episode 2 was not out yet when I watched episode 1, and then I just kind of figured I probably wouldn't come back to it when the time came. This was just some dumb lame shit. I watched the first episode on Crunchyroll at random one time, and it wasn't good. Zettai Karen Children. This one is like a spin-off in a way of Hayate the Combat Butler, I think. Like it had something to do with that. Like this one might have been or maybe they just ran in the same magazine and they were both really popular, but they had crossovers for some reason. I just didn't like the aesthetic of this show. It's like these 3 girls who are psychics and they fight shit. Like this seems like I should love it, because it's like these great like 80s style designs, and it's 3 cute little girls beating the shit out of monsters and stuff. But if I remember correctly, they're all like really bratty and annoying, and then also the aesthetic of the show is weird. So, you know, I just didn't end up really liking it. And lastly, Zombie Loan, from the manga artists Peach Pit, the same ones who did the designs of or who did the original manga of Shugokara and Rasen Maiden, which were both on this list before. But this one was like a shoujo zombie action thing. I think the main girl dies in the first episode and becomes a zombie, and it's dumb. And that's it. We did it. We fucking did it. We did it. This took 3.5 hours to finish off the list, but we fucking did it. We're fucking done. It's now 1 o'clock in the afternoon. This took long enough that you will have had time to watch the previous episode, and then this one will occupy the rest of your entire life while I'll be out driving for 9 hours tomorrow. And I'm probably going to record some Digibros with Victor later today, because I can't go to sleep till nighttime, or else it'll be difficult to make the drive. So yeah, thanks again for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this baffling series that I did for no fucking reason. See you later.